think that was somebody else.
All right. Welcome back. Another episode of Row 26. Here we are. Johnny boy. We got a special guest in the house today. We got our boy Casey, Mr. Casoilllll. What's up, kid? Say what's up to the people.
What up?
Welcome, Casey.
Here we go.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Thanks for coming on. Glad to have you.
Now we had a
listener.
we're going to go through the Hots Corner, put Casey through the ringer. We had our draft last night also, so we're going to talk about that. Everybody, shout out to our boy Rob hosting. Shout out to everybody drinking my beers, smoking my joints, eating the pizza I bought. Appreciate that. So we're going to get right into it, get into this Hots Corner. Zach, are you asking the first five?
I'll do the first five. I'll do the first five. I'll leave you with the last five. So if you guys have never followed us before, just to give you guys some insight, it's 10 rapid fire questions. Could be funny shit, could be sports shit, could be any shit. But so we'll get into that first. It'll be a quick segment, and then we'll get into that draft recap. You can see our draft board behind in our banner, by the way, if you want to take a quick peek at some of the picks. But Casey, you ready to go here?
Marks out there, yeah.
All right, here we go. Quick rapid fire. Over under 12 wins for the Texans this season.
Over.
Name your Mount Rushmore of childhood athletes. No one past high school.
Childhood athletes. Like
Any
fictional?
No, real. Like any athlete, any sport. But you name your childhood favorite athletes, your Mount Rushmore.
That's 4, right?
That's it.
Give me Griffey Jr. Give me Latrell Sprewell.
Oh.
I'll take I'll probably take Mark Messier as a Ranger.
Nice.
And give me Cam Newton.
Oh, okay.
Nah, give me Cam.
And Cam. All right. Would you rather be a scratch golfer or get free McDonald's for life?
That's not even a question. I'm taking scratch golfer.
Wine or beer?
Ooh. I'm going to go with the cold one.
Cold beer. Who will lead the league in interceptions this season as a team?
Oh, man. The Pats.
All right, cool. Hots, take it away, bro.
All right. Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston, or Courtney Cox, kill, fuck, marry?
Oh. I'm going to marry Jennifer Aniston. I'm going to fuck Angelina Jolie. And I'm going to kill Courtney Cox. That's the right answer. That's the right answer.
Would you rather be drafted by the Winnipeg Jets or the Minnesota Wild?
I would probably go Winnipeg Jets because I think Canada is better for hockey, but yeah.
All right. Would you rather have the world's largest hands or the world's largest head?
Hassan's got great questions. Always.
Give me the hands, bro. Give me the hands.
All
right.
All right.
Can't be walking around with a massive fucking dome piece.
Would you rather have $10 for every time you jerked off or a quarter for every time you've taken a shit?
Rich. I'd be so rich. $10 for every beat off.
Rich.
Billionaire, never have to work again.
All right. And would you rather be a high-level stand-up comedian, like perform in theaters and arenas, not like club, like high-level, famous, or be a third-string NFL emergency quarterback?
Oh, man. That's actually a very good question.
Thank you.
Give me the stand-up.
All right, let's wrap it up. Let's go through them. Zach, you go through yours first.
All right, sounds good. So over under 12 wins for the Texans this season. You said over. Any kind of justification, 1 or 2 sentences you want to talk about why you think that?
I don't know. They added Diggs. They got Mixon. I mean, CJ Stroud looks like a dog, and I don't even know. I mean, there's 18 games in the regular season. You got to win, 3 more over 500?
17.
So you got to win 4 more over 500? I think that's attainable for the Texans. They look nice.
Yeah, I agree. We got to go 13-4, Casey. That's 9 games over 500.
Yeah, I don't do math.
But also, But also, Zach, bad podcasting, not putting a half on there. You got to do 11 and a half or 12 and a half. You know what I mean? Like, so
12 is the part.
If you could get 12, and then you push or whatever.
Should have put
11 and a half is way more appealing.
So 11 and a half is what you were saying more.
So you're saying 11, 11 and a half. You're saying they're going to get 12 or more wins. I tend to agree. I think that AFC South is still a little weak. I don't really like Trevor Lawrence. I don't love the Colts. We'll see what happens with Anthony Richardson if he can stay healthy. And then also the Titans are kind of in a rebuild almost with Will Levis, new head coach, just kind of starting over. So they have a chance to go 5-1 in the division right there easily.
Agreed.
And moving on from that, I obviously added, big names. And C.J. Stroud, barring something weird, I see him getting better and not taking a step back. So I think he's got the goods. Zach, are you in agreement on there?
Yeah. Everything you just said was perfect. I think the only extra name I would add in there is Daniil Hunter lining up at the other side with Will Anderson on defensive line. Now the guy had like 16 sacks last year for Minnesota. So adding him with Will Anderson and that defense, I mean,
I sneaky liked Greenard though. I think they swapped spots if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think Greenard went to Minnesota and Hunter went to the Texans. If I'm not I do think Hunter's probably a little better, but I do think they took a loss there before they refilled it with Greenard. So it's kind of, but I do think as pass rushers, the combo of Anderson and Hunter is overall better.
Yes, one of the best combos in the league for sure.
Also, the OC is my long lost cousin.
It's true.
Oh, Slowick, that's true.
Big Bobby Slow.
I forgot.
Big Bobby.
Yeah, so Casey Slowick is our guest today, and Bobby Slowick is the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. So, yeah, you had to say over no matter what.
Gonna have to reach out to him on the LinkedIn.
It could have been 16 and a half. You would have had to say over.
For sure. All right, let's keep it moving here. Name your Mount Rushmore of childhood athletes. You said Griffey Jr. Love that. Sprewell, that was a throw. I love that, though, as a Knick fan.
I mean, that's my guy, bro.
Messier. And then Cam Newton. Holy shit. That was the one that kind of caught me a little bit. That was weird.
Yeah, so when you asked this question, I thought you wanted him to name high school. I want athletes.
I was like,
in high school. I thought you wanted Sean White, Monet Jones,
Booby Miles from South,
Danny Almonte. I thought you wanted him to name teenage athletes. I'm this is a super weird question.
Fucking Patrick Mahomes. So I was yeah.
But I guess Casey answered it right. But I thought you meant I said you wanted LeBron James when he was at fucking St. Vincent St. Mary's. What do you?
I thought it was fictional. I was gonna say fucking Pablo Sanchez from fucking
Zion
baseball and fucking Benny the Jet Rodriguez from the Sandlot.
I like those answers, except for Cam Newton. We weren't in high school, unless you're talking about Auburn Cam Newton, and we were seniors in high school.
That was the only one I was like.
Yeah, Cam's a G though.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching Auburn with a guy, and they were losing 28-0 to Alabama at halftime. He's like, "This game is over. No way." I'm like, "You never know." They came back and won. So that was high school. So you just started talking Auburn, Cam Newton. You just made the cut.
He was electric there at Auburn, so it's hard to hate on that. I mean,
he was electric in the league too. He took them to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, 15-1 MVP. He's a beast.
For sure. He's a beast.
But that was not when you were in high school.
That was not when we were in high school. We were in college then.
But I just thought it was. I really thought for a second you wanted high school athletes for Casey to pick as his favorite. That's crazy.
That would have been a crazy question too. I might even have to hold that for you for a future week. But
Danny Almonte for sure.
We'll keep it moving here. Would you rather be a scratch golfer or get free McDonald's for life? I mean, you answered this very quickly. I feel
McDonald's is ass, bro. I don't want to eat that shit.
But it's still free. It's still free though. It's free food.
Yeah, but if you eat McDonald's, let's say you're utilizing it to that level of I'd never pay for food again. That's going to save me millions of dollars over my lifetime.
Salad.
But if you just eat McDonald's, even the salad, your mental health will suffer, and your physical health.
You're probably dying 20 years early.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more of a thought, to be honest. I didn't think that Casey would snap. I'm proud that he said scratch golfer because that would be my snap choice. But I feel there's so many options with McDonald's. That's what kind of thought me with the
I would say McDonald's, and I'd give it away. I'd fucking I'd be benevolent. Whenever there was a party, I'd bring a fuckload of McDonald's. But
selling your free McDonald's.
You can be a scratch golfer if you work really hard and get better and better. That's attainable. Being a McDonald's free for life is unattainable.
I could argue
Being a scratch golfer is
scratch
crazy.
golfer is next to impossible.
There's human beings. There's probably a million of human beings who are scratch golfers.
Million?
I don't know. I don't think there's
Hundreds of thousands easily.
That I would agree with. In the world?
In the world, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Throughout the course of history, there's millions.
Yes. Scratch golfers is one thing.
You go to the talking stick.
Yeah,
you go to the talking stick in Arizona and sit in the poker room. You'll fucking bump into 6 of them. You know?
Yeah. At 100%, scratch golfer is it's a different thing than being a professional golfer. Just to let everyone know, if you're a scratch golfer, you're not even close to being a professional.
No.
Like a whole other tiers.
Another tier.
A scratch golfer, by definition, is someone who doesn't have a handicap, correct?
That's right. It just means they shoot par for the course every time they go out on an average.
That's basically like almost a professional, though.
It's someone that definitely has played in college, played in high school, amateur level, probably somewhere. Like definitely a top 1% golfer on the planet for sure.
I would say it equates to like being like a professional street baller to the NBA. Like you're very fucking good at basketball, but you're not like NBA level at basketball.
I'm kind of there. I think I kind of agree. I know what you're saying. Like those guys that like played in college. You know, they played at maybe a smaller college university, but are disgusting and like the best player. Like even like who's the guy that played in the USA on the 3-on-3 tournament who didn't really make the league that well, but he was like the best player in college.
Jimmer Fredette.
That's it. Like for example, like a guy like him, he's 1% of the world in basketball.
He's like the last person I think of when I think of street baller.
No, I know. I just thought of 3-on-3. That's
Jimmer Fredette.
I don't know why.
But Jimmer Fredette I would say Jimmer Fredette's better than a scratch golfer at basketball. He's like the national player of the year in college.
He made the pros.
He was in the pros for a brick.
Yeah, he made the.
But I don't know. I get what you're saying. It's very rare, but McDonald's for life free. Like Warren Buffett has one of those cards. Like it's like more rare. There's like 2 guys who have those.
True.
And Warren Buffett brags about it. He's like, he was like, mine's only in Nebraska, and Bill Gates's is like anywhere in the world. So his.
Hey, talk to us about golf a little bit. You've been jonesing over there. I know you played a couple of days ago. How you feeling?
It's the best. It's the best thing ever. It took me so long to get onto it, but once you finally learn how to hit a golf ball, it's the greatest feeling ever. And like you could literally play an entire round and suck. All it takes is like 1 or 2 good shots throughout the entire round, and you're like, wow, it like keeps you coming back.
Yeah, it's a drug for sure. All right, we'll keep it moving here. Wine or beer? You said you would go for a cold one.
That's hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, low-key, like, have kind of got into wine in the last, like, year or two. It kind of hits, it depends on the mood, but, like, if I had to pick one, like, overall, like, nothing kind of beats a cold beer.
I feel like there's
it's in its own tier, like,
yeah, there's more
you can't really compare, you know? Like, a cold beer is cold beer, it's always good.
Go ahead, Zach, and then I'll expand.
Yeah.
But, like, a glass of wine can be like, you know,
wine, right place, right time. You're on a date with a girl, you share a bottle of wine. Okay, we're here. But like beer is like a lot of places. Backyard, ball game, you know, just like at lunch.
Anywhere.
Like anytime you can have a cold one, to be honest. So I feel like Hots will expand a little bit more on this, but I feel like the options for when you can have a beer versus when you can have a glass of wine, like, yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's situational, and especially in terms of like even liquor, beer, and wine. They all have like their place, but beer just has more places. And wine, I think Casey was like started to say it almost was like some wines will fucking hit, and you're like, damn, that is tasty. And then you'll have a wine, and it'll be expensive. It'll be somewhere that you're like, wow, like this is supposed to be good wine, and you'll drink it, and it won't be good. And I don't know about you guys, I'm not doing the whole thing where I sniff it, take a sip. I'm not gonna send it back. I'm gonna drink whatever it is. They open the bottle.
Like Mike Lazada, shout out Mike.
I'm not gonna be like, no, I don't want this anymore after I smelled it. So, and then liquor, obviously, there's a time and place to take shots. A good cheers is always nice. We had a good one last night, but there's nothing more refreshing than you have like a long, hard work day, or even like a day doing yard work or fucking shit. When you finish everything you have to do for the day, for me, it's usually a hard day of work. Come home, walk the dog, go work out, done with that, and then like on a Friday after doing all that to like crack a beer. That beer tastes so fucking good. It's like one of my top. If you ask me like what are the best feelings in the world outside of sex, that's like right up there.
That first
hit. That first cold beer when you're like, man, I'm done. I'm going into the weekend. This is gonna be great.
I feel you. I feel you for sure. All right, let's keep it moving here. Who will lead the league in interceptions this season? This was my last one. You went with the Pats. Very interesting answer. I think they got some nice young talent. That guy Gonzalez, I think they drafted last year at the corner position, who's a nice player. Obviously, you got Mayo at defensive coordinator.
Oh, wow. I actually thought it was who's throwing the most picks.
Oh, okay. Well, so you're saying you think Drake May is going to – and that team is going to throw the most picks is what you're saying?
That's what I thought. That's why I picked
I was saying more from a defensive team perspective.
I see.
Do you want to change your answer?
Yeah, give me the Falcons.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
Yeah,
so
like
we're going to go
too.
strictly off that. Obviously, they signed Justin Simmons. They got Jesse Bates. You got A.J. Terrell with the contract there as well. A lot of guys that can ball hawk, even though A.J. Terrell in 2 years has no interceptions, and he's honestly one of the more overrated corners in the league. Shout out Jermaine. But
Shout out.
But Hots, you want to talk about that a little bit? Falcons right there.
Oh, no, I thought that was a great pivot at the end there by Casey. I think the Falcons is a great pull. I didn't have them on the top of mine, but yeah, the two safeties light it up. They should have a better pass rush.
Yeah.
With Dallas Turner, I believe, taken in the first round.
Judon.
Judon getting over there.
Judon,
Yeah, just added Judon, so the increased pass rush.
Yeah.
And I also I thought Casey was just like hot taking when he said the Patriots. Like,
Me too.
Like he was just like, yeah, because they always have good defense, they always cause turnovers, they got Gerard Mayo, but realistically, they're going to be losing, and teams are going to be running the ball against them. They just won't have maybe the opportunities of like pass attempts against them to get interceptions. But I like that answer for who's going to throw the most interceptions, because I think
that's what I thought.
Between Brissett is kind of careful with the ball, but they're going to go to May eventually, and then God forbid Joe Milton gets in there. He's an interception machine, so
yeah,
it would light the scoreboard up.
I like the Pats. I think the Raiders are another team that are going to throw a ton of picks. You got Gardner Minshew over there. I mean, that's a pick heaven right there, I feel like, as well. So, yeah, that's one other team, but I like the Pats as the answer for who's going to throw.
I mean, Josh Allen always throws a ton of interceptions every year. And it's not a knock on him. I'm not trying to say like he sucks. Like I'm saying like because he takes a lot of chances. He's down to force the ball when he has to. So he's just his style of play lends towards interceptions. But that's also what makes him great. It's like him taking those risks and going for it. So, but I think the Bills are always kind of a safe bet there also. But we could keep them moving. I know we got the draft to get to.
Yeah, you go ahead with your questions then, with your responses.
All right, so I think Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston, or Courtney Cox, kill, fuck, marry. I think I had someone besides Courtney Cox when I went to read this question. It had Angelina Jolie written down twice, so I had to just like pivot at the last second.
Cox is good though. She had her moment in the sun in The Longest Yard. She looked fine in that movie.
But in terms of those three, like, who looks the worst now? It's Courtney Cox by a landslide.
The Botox has destroyed her face.
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston still looks good.
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie still looks good. Great body. Courtney Cox is
honest.
Yeah, I think Casey drilled it. Easy money.
Easy money. No discussion needed. Yep.
Layup.
Jennifer Lopez was maybe my third that I meant to put. What would you
probably kill her?
Yeah, probably kill her too.
She's definitely not a Mary. We've seen her get divorced like 18 times. So
she just looks
either kill her.
Elbowing Ben Affleck too, just like telling him what to do.
I saw a good tweet. Shout out to Sam Morrell. He tweeted out. He's like, if something about Jennifer Aniston is going to sell her mansion brings up too many memories, and he tweeted out, "This 7th bedroom is where Ben used to hide." That was a good joke. But I think that's funny.
The amount of beta relationships going on in Hollywood, it's really, really astounding to me when you see some Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, all these girls just hard elbowing their man in Hollywood is just.
Well, Blake Lively and I think Ryan Reynolds both talk shit about each other, which is funny.
They have like the perfect relationship.
Bullshit talk for sure.
It'll be like I've seen one where he posted. It's like him, her, and their daughter, and it's like two of the nicest people in the world, and Blake, what I mean? And she'll post something like, look at this, what accomplishments by this man, and it'll be like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and then there's my husband. You know what I mean? Like they talk shit like that.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, it's funny that when you add in J-Lo, but you're like, yeah, she's still dead. It doesn't matter. It didn't change anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing more relatable than like the Ben Affleck memes of him like smoking the cigarette and like slamming the car door shut when she like gets in. She's like, I fucking hate you.
Ben Affleck is every guy who's been in a toxic relationship with a Latina ever. Yeah. He's just the biggest version of that. Like,
no comment.
Yeah. I said toxic relationship.
I
didn't say
any
relationship
right now,
with a Latina.
The one previous to this one, LL for sure.
Yeah. So
everybody needs just a little bit of toxicity. Just a small sprinkle.
It's needed, especially for New York boys. Like, we need to be smacked around just a little bit.
Okay.
Not actually physically. All right, that's going to be clipped and dubbed. That's great.
All right. Yeah. So next question. Would you rather?
Domestic
Not
abuse.
leaving me out in the wind. That's great. That's great.
Don't worry. You got slapped around. It's okay. There's a hotline for that. Would you rather be drafted by the Winnipeg Jets or the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, I think just like hockey in Canada is just significantly better, and I think their fan bases are better. So, I mean, Minnesota Wild, they're a great team as far as hockey, but I think just playing hockey in Canada, like if I was a hockey player, like I'd probably want to go to Canada most likely.
Fire.
I think I was thinking between like the uniforms of the Wild, which I think are sick, the
Sick.
green with like the
Pretty
little wolf, and then I also, but I agree with you that like I'd rather live in if I'm a professional athlete, I've lived in America my whole life. I'd like to experience being a professional athlete in a different country, what that entails. Just live somewhere else for a few
like
years, whatever.
Soccer in Europe, I feel like I equate it to. It's hockey
Similar,
in Canada.
yeah.
I feel like the fans and like it's not just like it's not a mid-market type of thing where the market dictates the fanship. There could be people from all over Canada that are fans of Winnipeg. I feel like.
To be
It's a
fair,
lifestyle.
though, Minnesota is a hockey
Yeah.
haven. Also, they like are
It is.
always in the
True.
Frozen Four.
Good point.
They're right next to Canada.
Good point.
It's there's a lot of people who are Canadian who live in Minnesota. Like.
Cold weather state. So yeah, absolutely. You get the cold weather
Yeah.
state. You get the hockey fans for sure.
But no, I just want to make sure I throw a hockey question in for the hockey guru. We might have to have him in like NHL finals and stuff. But would you rather have the world's largest hands or the world's largest head?
I just like I'm like thinking, and I was like, wow, man, just like your head is.
Yeah,
just
you're gonna
like,
wear
so
an 8
fucking-
3/4 fucking.
Your head is just like this big.
Because it's not like equated. Like you're not going to be any taller. It's like tomorrow you wake up and you have the world's largest hands or the world's largest head. So you got to think there's some guy who's like 7 foot tall, 500 pounds, with just a giant ass head who looks so weird. But then again, that's saying that you just have the biggest hands ever. Like
Hands can be money
hands.
makers, though. That's the thing with hands.
Head,
Head,
money makers.
yeah, that's the thing.
Hands, you could, yeah, I guess you could make money being like, I have the world's biggest hands, pay me $5.
Oh, you think of guys like even like Odell and these guys that wear like 6XL gloves in the NFL. Like if Casey could get in out of his routes with those hands, maybe he's possession receiver. It's just like whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure his 5'9", 40 wouldn't hold him
No,
back.
you have no hands.
NFL wide receiver.
You have those hands, you're snagging everything, bro.
You're getting crushed. You'll be out for the season after one play.
Maybe.
Come on.
Like sick hands, bro.
Yeah, great catch, dude. Now you're dead.
Back is
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
Hands that make you a good golfer. There's a lot of things hands can do.
Also,
Nah,
like,
we're
Nick look
talking
way
the
smaller.
world's largest hands. You know how awkward that's going to be? Like, you're like saying, like, you
Really
just
big.
seamlessly.
I just think about the nail guy from the Guinness World Record book, the long nail guy. Like, I
Oh,
think about that
disgusting.
type of I just think of those types of hands. Like how
Shout
big-
out to the Scholastic School Fair, which always had
Oh,
the
yeah.
fucking Guinness Book of World Records. That was good
Captain
times.
Underpants.
when kids used to actually read books and look at books. Yeah, different
Cap-
time.
Captain Underpants, great poll. And there was always like a
That's my
fucking
childhood hero.
Matt
Captain
Christopher fucking sports books when I was little too.
Damn,
Good times.
crazy. Wow.
All right.
Book fair.
And Sports
that's like
Illustrated for kids.
elementary window shopping.
Yeah,
Never
that
had
was
any
the-
money for it. Just had to go there and look and pretend you could get a book.
No, I think my parents would only give me money for that. All right, next question. Would you rather have $10 for every time you jerked off or a quarter for every time you've taken a shit? You went with the $10 for jerking off.
yeah.
My man's making 60
How-
an hour.
How I thought about this question was in the past, like how many times you had. Not like you could start tomorrow and just make $10 per jerk. Like in the past, have you jerked off 40 times more? Have you taken 40 times more shits than you've jerked off in your life? Like, what would be more money?
I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I keep giving you math problems. I'm sorry,
but
but
like you gotta have to do like, say you just average a shit a day.
oh,
The
yeah.
shit is confirmed one per day. That's the one
I'm just-
consensus I
You
have.
guys
Not
also
your-
got to think about all the shits you've taken before puberty, because you didn't start jerking
All right,
off
so
until you were
That's
13 or
true. You got
whatever.
13
You do a
years,
shit a day.
10 years.
Comes
I'd
out
say.
to-
Oh, he's busted out the calculator.
Oh
Comes
my
out to $91 a year.
Oh, okay.
So that's
That's a good point.
It's 0.25 times 365, and then let's say
Oh,
times
so then
that
it's
by-
definitely the jerking off is the math. Then.
it's only $3,000.
Yeah, the jerking
Yeah.
off. Then
I-
you're gonna make
I-
more money.
Yeah, I hear you.
Even if
I
you're
sh-
every other
I
day,
for
even
sh-
if
I
every other
shit.
day.
I probably shit like 3 times a day, to be fair.
I mean, you get on another $1,500 if you do 2 a day there.
But I'm saying with the kid stuff and all that, because I shit for years growing up. But all that being said, I'm still taking the jerking off. I've had some dark days where I made like $70 in one day. Like you said, that's like a year of shitting if you shit once a day.
And Judge and Soto aren't the first guys to hit back to back to back. That's all I'll say. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like the $10 is gonna win there versus 25 cents.
I hit back to back to back having sex. I've never won back to back to back jerks. I've never nutted, jerked off again, nutted and jerked off again.
That, but I'm saying within a day, like.
Oh, within a day, easy, yeah. Like I said, there's been $70 days.
I'm saying so, like
and like Casey pointed out,
we're in our early in college or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I had you got to put you're chafing the next day.
Whoa,
but
college. What do you mean? To yesterday.
To Casey's point too, like even if I don't shit once a day, let's say I shit 3 times a day, that's still like 4 months worth of shitting that you could make in fucking 2 days of jerking off if you're fucking lonely.
Yeah, in 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's fucking.
The conversation is taking a hard left right now.
Yeah. But nah, so jerking off's great. Moving on.
I'm here for it.
Would you rather be a high-level stand-up comedian, like performing in theaters and arenas, or be a third-string NFL emergency quarterback? So, they added the new roster spot in the NFL as like the third string. You only play like if both quarterbacks get hurt. You're probably making league minimum-ish, let's say $400,000 a year.
Unless you're a veteran, then you're making probably the veteran minimum.
Yeah, so, but a high-level stand-up's making fucking $10 to $20 million a year, easy, if not more.
For sure.
But you have to actually work really hard and do a lot of shit.
10 to 15 shows at least.
You have to do a show every weekend. You probably
and you're not doing an official show every weekend. You're practicing your material at the clubs all week.
You're probably doing podcasts, and you're probably doing appearances.
You're branding. You're
branding for sure.
Doing social media fucking bullshit.
It's Casey. What do you think?
I didn't even really think of it from a financial aspect. I thought of it more from just like, I don't know. I kind of thought I was like, it'd be pretty chill to kind of just hang out on the sideline, like toss football around. I guess you still got to go to practice and shit, but you're not really like getting
the access.
Quarterback practice is easy. You're not like doing tackling drills or trying. You know what I mean? You're never getting hit. Like quarterback practice is basically just throwing the ball around, like you were saying.
I get autographs from every player.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a mainstream comedy guy, like you're basically a celebrity. Like,
you're 10,000. You're so much more famous.
You're meeting way more people. Like bitches probably know who you are, and like
no one knows who tied that.
But as soon as you say you're talking to a hot girl and you say I'm an NFL quarterback, they don't care what fucking string you are, dude. You're in, dude. There's no.
True.
Comedian is hit or miss with girls. They might not like humor like that.
Girls and funny, That's
but I'm saying that comedians are almost too funny for like the normal girl.
True.
Like, they need a funny girl also.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like girl. Oh man, I'm being mean right now. But girl funny and guy funny, I think is different. Like,
I would 100% agree, and it's not. You're not being mean at all. I think there are girls that would lean into the guy funny, but that's a rare thing versus like the average girl type of funny. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm not leaving.
And there's nothing hotter than when a girl is like really funny, like a guy funny. Like that's one of the most attractive traits.
Being guy funny.
In terms of girlfriend, like dating a girl, funny, like getting hard belly laughs from a girl is like a top quality.
Absolutely. And I agree more. If Christy was not hilarious, that would be a
funnier
problem
than me
for sure.
What'd you say?
I said as long as they're not funnier than me.
Well, that's a low bar. All right, but no, I like that answer. You're way more famous. I think I'd be the third string QB, just like make a nice living, not have to work super hard.
Max.
But then again, if we're entailing all the work that the comedian has to do in terms of social media, grinding podcasts, then we have to incorporate like off-season workouts and training with a QB coach and all that shit, nutrition. Because even being a third stringer, you still have to keep in crazy shape and crazy skill and crazy knowledge of the game. So
because you'll die if something goes wrong. You actually have to enter that game. You will die on the field if you do not stay in shape and stay at least somewhat ready.
Yeah, and also like I said, it is a qualifier of like you have to do that to even have this opportunity to have this profession.
Right.
We're not saying you could be a stand-up comedian and bomb every night and still make $10 to $20 million. So you can't be like a third string quarterback and not be able to perform the duties of the job.
I was just watching Adam Sandler on Joe Rogan's podcast last night, and he was talking about how he bombs all the time, and you just got to live with the bombs and just kind of move on like you're playing golf almost, and it's just like it's the last hole. You got to move on, and it doesn't matter. He's still going to get gigs. His shit gets bought out. He gets booked for 15 shows for like $25-30 million, and he's paid and he just has to fulfill the requirement is essentially how it works with him versus like a backup quarterback probably has to continue to earn that $450,000 paycheck.
It's like the hardest art form, honestly, stand-up comedy. Yeah. Making people laugh, especially when you get big like that and you got to like travel where like you're going to different demographics and making different types of people laugh with your jokes. Yeah. Like it's all like universal. Like it's easy to like go to like a New York City club and make New York City people laugh if you're from New York City. But then you go to like fucking Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and have to like do a comedy club. Like that's crazy hard. Yeah. So I think I have a lot of respect for stand-ups, but I would like the quiet life and just fucking chill, make good money, fucking I'm sure third string quarterbacks have hot ass wives and girlfriends also.
Yeah. You ain't wrong.
That's a fact. All right, let's get into our draft recap. Is that the last one, John?
Yeah, that was the last one. Let's get into the draft recap. Let me pull it up.
Oh man,
I'm pulling mine up here too.
Should we go team?
We did perfect timing actually. 30 minutes in, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's get right into our draft recap. What I'll start since Casey's the guest, we'll start with him. Casey, what I'll ask you is this. We'll prompt each other a little bit here just so we don't have to go through it pick by pick because I know that's not what everybody wants to hear. But who are some teams that you saw after the draft that you were like, that team looks very, very good. And on the flip side, that team looks very suspicious. I know I'm probably inviting you to come after me right now, and that's fine, but go ahead.
I think the consensus after the draft, I think Rob's team is pretty scary.
Go through some of the picks that you like within his team and why you say that.
I mean, he's got the CD and Dak stack, which is super nice. He had Taylor as the keeper, and he's got Cup Higgins. Yeah. I mean, like,
yeah,
his team, like, it's pretty strong all around, man.
Like, you trust Cup?
It's very top heavy. I really like like you said, those first 5 rounds are fucking stacked, especially with Taylor as the keeper 5th. But then, Prescott obviously, paired with CD is nice. But then once you get past that, the Donai Mitchell, the Jaleel McLaughlin in the 9th round is, I think, his worst pick. I think that's a terrible pick. The coach was talking about like it's going to be 45% Williams, 40% Estime, and 15% McLaughlin. And then you're taking him in the 8th round. Or 9th round.
But I mean, you don't know how it's going to shake up there. Like he could come out and just be like better than the other
a rookie,
guys,
right?
Yeah, Estime's a rookie from Notre Dame. Javonte Williams has had some success. Jaleel McLaughlin, I just don't see it. Yeah, he's had some success. I've seen him play well, have good games. I've never seen McLaughlin really do much. I think he's like a third down, maybe, not going to score a lot of touchdowns. So I think Rob had a really good draft. But if we're going to call out best and worst picks, I would say that's his worst pick. And I would say his best pick would be, man, it's tough. But I would say
probably for value.
I really like T. Higgins at 4th round, pick 12.
That's what I was going with. I think T. Higgins is going to bounce back and have a good year. I think Kyler Boyd's gone, and the share is going to go. Burrow's there. He looks like Eminem. I think he's poised for a big year.
I hope so.
And I think they're going to eat. And then you have the contract stuff with Jamar, so you never really know what's going to happen. I think Jamar's going to play eventually, but I like T. Higgins when he's healthy. I think he's a very good wide receiver.
Yeah, Jamar could get hurt. When you don't have a whole season of workouts and you're not really reporting and you're kind of just doing your own thing, that's when injuries happen. So I agree with you in some sense. Obviously, I didn't take T. Higgins there the pick before. I took Calvin Ridley, and some people would argue with that. Obviously, I got sniped by Jake before me taking Cooper. There was just a lot of trickle down that ended up happening. I was making decisions on the spot, planning for other guys. But yeah, I agree with you in terms of your thoughts on Rob. I think he consensus has a really good team. I do agree. I like AD Mitchell more than kind of how Hots just led on. Not more because of AR, but because Flacco's the backup. And last year he threw the rock to Cooper when he came in, and I expect AR to get hurt. So I like AD Mitchell. I think he's talented. He looked good in the preseason too. I think his first name's Adonai, which is God in Hebrew. So Pretty
That's
crazy
cool.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one more point on T. Higgins real quick. Like, just he was a guy who was going in the second round of a lot of fantasy drafts last year. You know,
Yeah.
someone who was coming off a lot of hype. And, I think Jamar Chase is going to play. I'm not really too worried about it. And I think that with Jamar Chase out there is like the best thing for T. Higgins, like having that number one for him to play off of and just having that attention on him. But we'll move on or we go. What do you guys think is Rob's? We all agree that it's T. Higgins.
I think I like James Cook also. I think he's going to eat a lot this year. I think they're going to have to run the ball a ton there, and he has an opportunity, if he can stay healthy, to be a really like a 1,200-yard guy, I think. So I think I like James Cook a little bit more than T. Higgins for me, just because Burrow's been hurt 2 years in a row. And I'm not, until I see Burrow complete a season, I'm not buying it yet. That's where we're at now.
All right. And then what would you say was his worst pick?
I think I agree with you. The McLaughlin. It's just McLaughlin. Like, obviously, it's just a committee. I don't even like the Denver offense. The rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. Like, we don't even know what that offense is going to look like. They just got rid of Tim Patrick. I don't know who they're throwing the ball to. I don't know anybody on that team besides Cortland Sutton. Judy's gone. Like, there's just not a lot of talent, frankly, on that offense. So I agree with you with the McLaughlin. I feel like a reach a little bit. Yeah.
What are you thinking, Case?
I actually think Schultz is worse. I would have taken David Njoku over Dalton Schultz.
That's a good call, too.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, man. I think Schultz, especially with them adding Diggs, now it's Diggs, Collins, Mixon, Tank Dell, and Schultz. There's just only one football. So should we go and just like team by team, like start with Jamie, like by pick, and just go?
Yeah, pick our best pick and worst pick. Yeah, we could do that. Let's look at Jamie's team. So, Hotz, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, Jamie, thanks for the donation. Appreciate you joining the league.
Again.
Yeah, I think Keon Coleman in the 6th round is crazy. I think that's quite a reach. I know we were just talking about Buffalo and that they got rid of Diggs, they got rid of Gabe Davis, but
you hate that more than the Javonte pick, bro?
No, I forgot about the Javonte pick. But you expand on the Javonte pick.
Casey was talking. Casey and I were talking about it offline. It's up for the worst pick in the draft for sure, 100%. ADP is completely off. You're talking about look at the next pick is George Kittle, and then Roma Dunze, and then Ladd, and then Terry McLaurin, Mark Andrews. These are names that were on the board right there. I just it's a little bit of abusive of a pick. I feel bad. Jamie took a year off. That's one of those picks that speaks to that, I would say. But because he was good a couple years ago, it almost feels like, and Jamie probably saw the name and it was familiar per se. So kind of feel bad on that front. But yeah, definitely the worst pick for sure. I think his best pick, low key, could be Josh Palmer. As I took Ladd McConkey, Josh Palmer actually has proven rapport with Herbert, so he could end up being really the guy there if he can stay healthy. And he's also a young player. He's not. People feel like Josh Palmer's been around for years. I think he's 24 or 25 years old, still a young guy. So that could be nice with Herbert on a bounce back with Jim Harbaugh. We'll have to see what Jim Harbaugh does with that offense and how much they run the ball, but we'll see.
Good call at Josh Palmer age. I didn't know he was that young, but at the same time, I don't see him as a number one in the NFL. I've seen him play enough. I don't think he's that level of player, but maybe he'll prove me wrong. I don't love that pick. I think his best pick was You're
looking for it still, huh?
Yeah. I guess DJ Moore, 2nd round.
You like Singletary on the Giants based on opportunity at all? Nothing.
I do.
I think Singletary played really well last year for the Texans. Go ahead, Casey. Sorry to cut you off there.
You're good. I think I'm with you. I think it's either Josh Palmer or Devin Singletary for his best pick. I like Singletary just based on usage, but Palmer, he could be the guy. I don't think he's going to be a 1 like you said, but I think he could.
Let me look at his game log from last year.
Herbert slings the rock, man.
Yeah, I love me some Justin Herbert. I can't lie. I think that if I think that if Josh Palmer elevates his game and worked really hard this offseason, like Zach was saying, he's still a young guy. He has room for improvement. If he made those improvements, that could definitely be his best pick in the 8th round, and then Singletary right before it. I think those are probably his 2 best picks. Next up is me, so I'll abstain and I'll let you guys talk about my draft.
Casey, take it away, bro.
Let me see this team. Best pick, I'm gonna go with. I was actually really torn because I was gonna take Devontae Adams. Because the way that it kind of like shook up there, like I was just looking at the guys available, and it's like I got that pick, and I was like, do I take Debo? Do I take Mike Evans? Do I take Diggs? And I was just like unsure of all of them. And I think Gardner, he's gonna feed Devontae Adams, and I mean Devontae Adams is GOAT, So, but then like I just had Travis Kelce staring me in the face, so I was like, you know what, man,
another GOAT for the record.
Like it's just like a nice plug. I never have to worry about it. And to be honest with you, Travis Kelce is basically like a wide receiver one anyway. So I'm pretty surprised that Devontae fell to you. It was almost like how Kelce fell to me. Like you kind of got to take that guy there.
Yeah, I like that assessment.
It's a sick pick. My least favorite pick is Rome at 5.
Yeah,
I think it's a little early. I think there's so many mouths to feed there. I mean, I think they could make the connection. I mean, I think he's going to be a great player, but I think 5 was a little bit early for him. I probably would have went like Scary Terry there, but I mean, Rome is cool. And then you got the Caleb stack. I mean, I ain't mad at it.
There's some cool people on this team that have some interesting value. Braylon Allen's a guy on the Jets as the handcuff for Brees. Brees has been injured before in his career, so I do like that pick. We really don't know what John Brooks is, so Hubbard might have the reins the whole year in a sense, or at least be in the fold the whole year, barring injury, of course. Well, we can say that about every player, but obviously Hubbard is definitely going to be in the fold there. I like him. Trey Benson is another guy that's going to be in the fold at some point or another because Connor inevitably gets hurt. I actually was targeting him that round. Hotz knows that, and I ended up taking Corum that same round. Better situation for Benson, still talent. I'm not in love with the Mixon pick. I don't really know what that will be on that offense. That's the only reason I don't love it. It's not a bad pick because we know Mixon's a stud and he catches the football, so that's good for Stroud. I just don't know the usage with all those mouths as we discussed, but Tank Dell's been hurt, so they're going to have to inevitably rely on that run game to keep Stroud up. But overall, the team's going to compete. If Caleb is exactly what we saw in preseason, this team's going to compete for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just respond briefly. I think the Devontae Adams shot is perfect, Casey. I mean, I was shocked that he fell to me. Literally on my targets, I had him written down, and I'm like, he's not going to make it to me. I have to not stop thinking he's going to make it to me. And he made it to me somehow. Last year was kind of a down year, but still a very productive year.
Always.
It was
his down years are up years.
Exactly. He didn't score the touchdowns he usually scores, but you could almost put that 100% on the quarterbacks he was playing with, starting with Jimmy Garoppolo and then to Aiden O'Connell, fucking AOC. Fucking let's be fucking for real here. They were like running the ball 35 times a game by the end of the year just because he can't throw. So Minshew, he's going to throw a lot of picks, but like Casey was saying, he's going to try to force it in there to Adams. He's going to try to get him to rock. And
350 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
I knew watching the season, I had Devontae Adams on my roster last year also. Watching the games, like on Red Zone, specifically focusing on him, there was a lot of bad throws where he was open. Yeah. And if you watch the receiver series on Netflix, you'll see that also.
Yeah. Super frustrated.
So if he can just get some decent throws, he could have another huge
almost like
year.
Sam Darnold's throwing him the ball or something.
First round pick value, Sam Darnold.
I'm just fucking with Casey because he took JJ.
I'm just mad I got JJ, bro.
I'm mad you got JJ. But then in terms of the Rome Odunze pick, I know that it might have been a little early. It's a little reach. It's one of those where it's not going to get back to me. I didn't believe. So it's kind of like I want Rome Odunze on my team. This is my opportunity to get him. I won't get him in the 6th round. So it's a situation where I did plan on drafting Caleb too. And then also I think Rome Odunze could be a keeper. I do expect him to be better than Keenan Allen this year. There's already a side bet on the table. Who's going to have more fantasy points, Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze? I'm on the Rome Odunze side, obviously, with me and Eddie Saint. It's 10 push-ups anytime, $10. I also wanted to make that anytime. She's like, I'll just make you do 1 push-up. Next time I see you make you do 1 push-up. Be like, I'm going to see you give me $1. Next time, give me $1. No, but we're just $10, 10 push-ups. I think he was a little scared. I probably would have went up to like 50, but
I think that you're right about Keenan getting hurt possibly. He's never played in cold weather before like that consistently on a cold weather team on that field. It's an old field there at Soldier Field. So, I mean, the
injury definitely helps, but I'm not doing it betting on Keenan Allen getting injured. I think Rome Odunze
injury will just boom roll.
Yeah, it definitely helps my bet. But my point being is even if they're both healthy all year, I think Rome Odunze at this stage of their lives and careers, I'm not saying Rome Odunze will eclipse Keenan Allen in his prime, but I think an older Keenan Allen, he's on the wrong side of 30, if I'm not mistaken, versus a young Rome Odunze. Give me the young Rome Odunze all day.
Also, Rome is on the team for the next 4 years. Keenan Allen, he's only on a 1 year. They never actually extended
Precisely.
him. So Keenan Allen
Keenan's 32.
and he's 32. He'll probably be on a different team next year now that they locked up DJ Moore this past offseason. So you have DJ Moore and Odunze. It will make no sense to pay Keenan Allen what he's probably going to end up asking for. So he'll end up walking if I had to guess this offseason. So
yeah, I mean, going into your 33-year-old year, whatever. Either way,
Sure.
And also, last thing I'll say is I always kind of enjoy like watching the progression of a rookie quarterback and a rookie wide receiver both getting drafted, highly touted early, and that applies to tight end too. Anytime I see like, all right, they drafted this quarterback and then they drafted this tight end or wide receiver as the next pick, I think that tends to bode well for their connection and their growth. Like they're probably roommates, things like that. So
look who's here. Let me add him to the stage. We have another special guest here. We got Mark.
Shout out to Mainstream Fishing.
Hey, we're not up to your team yet. We're
I've been paying attention. I've been listening.
all right, cool,
All right.
cool.
All right,
So
we'll go
right
to
now,
we did
yeah.
Rob, we did Jamie, we did me. We're up to Zach's team now. Zach has to abstain. We'll go with Casey first. Worst pick, best pick.
Where do I start?
Oh my god. Always so biased, you know
There's
what
so
I'm
many
saying?
options of
I'll
worst
actually be
pick.
right back.
Main, flip your screen. Flip your screen.
Worst
Actually-
picks are
I'll be right back.
4, 5, and
that was Jermaine, everyone. Thanks for coming out.
I hate Ridley at 4. I think McConkey at 5 is also a huge reach. I like Jonathan Brooks at 6. I think that's completely fine, even though he's not playing for the first few weeks. Blake Corum, I like. I think he's also very good. Ford is a good pick. It has to be probably, I think it's got to be Ridley at 4. I think that's high for him.
Yeah, I mean, Ridley, I do like Ridley coming into this year, but I also do think it's a bit of a reach. I think you could have waited to when you got Ladd and potentially still got Ridley. And furthermore, maybe even could have potentially got Ladd where you got in Brooks. You weren't getting Brooks in the next round. So if it was a long sequence play that you were like, this is my plan, it's one thing. But I do believe that Ridley probably would have made it back to you. I could speak for myself. I would have taken a Dunze over Ridley also. Obviously Rob had his keeper in between there in that point. So I think there's a chance you could have got Calvin Ridley and T. Higgins or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of hit, maybe Cooper got drafted beforehand, like you said, and you went into a bit of a panic mode and you like Ridley. So you're like, all right, if I'm at least taking a guy I like.
Yeah.
And maybe that led you a bit astray. I think Calvin Ridley over T. Higgins though is borderline like inexplicable. It's hard to defend.
All right. So,
But your best pick, I would say, is Jonathan Brooks. I was obviously big time high on Jonathan Brooks. I think the Panthers are going to slowly but surely get a bit better. They're not going to be as dreadful. And I love, a good, young, strong, fast rookie running back coming into the league. A lot of running backs' best production are on their first contract. Yeah. And I think that he's another example of that. Obviously, the injury
next year, though, that's the thing. It might be next year.
The injury stuff, people will say like, "Oh, he's out the first whatever weeks." Fantasy's a week-to-week game. You can plug and play. If you can't work around that and still find a way to, get some value out of it later in the season, like you can win those games without him. You can lose the games with him. It doesn't. Someone's hurt. Yeah, it obviously has an effect, but it shouldn't be something that's like I can't draft him because he's out. So I don't have a problem with that at all. If he wasn't missing the first 4 games, he'd probably be a 3rd round pick.
I agree.
And like next year, let's say the last 10 games of the season, he ends up showing that he's a fucking monster. Let's say 7 of those 10, he goes for over 100 yards. Like he's going to be my keeper in the 6th round.
Monster keeper potential.
That's a monster keeper potential. So that was also the thought that inevitably I could keep Brooks if he does pan out to be one of those like elite running backs that we all think that he could become. So that was also a thought about it in the 6th round. I do agree that based on trend, because of Cooper losing out on Cooper, that would definitely made me feel like I had to get my guy, which was Ridley. I've been burned by Burrow in my dynasty for 2 years in a row. So T. Higgins burned Jermaine, our friend who just rejoined the podcast just now last year. And I know it was a different situation, but it all has to do with Burrow getting hurt. So me taking T right there, just like would be being an owner of Burrow, like that was my thought. That was where my head was. It was just like, fuck T. Higgins. Fuck everything on the Bengals. That's why I didn't take Chase in the 1st round either. It's just like, I couldn't do it. Burrow's been fucking me.
I think Terry McLaurin could have a better year than Ridley and T. Higgins and Rome Odunze and Lad McConkey.
Of course he could, but also
Could,
like
but-
at the end of the day, Jordan Daniels, I'm more intrigued with him for his running ability. He does have limitations as a passer, and Terry McLaurin's best routes are his like deeper routes where you hit him when he's open deep, he out jumps the guys. I don't know if that pans well into Jaden Daniels, who has a lot of screens and a lot of short passes in his time at LSU. Offense schemed up around like that college spread wide open offense, you know.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He might throw
But
35.
no, I like Terry McLaurin though. I don't have a problem. But to get back to Zach's, you know, you don't have to defend the Brooks pick. We don't like the Brooks pick.
No, not the
The
Brooks
other-
pick.
yeah.
I'm more talking about
I know. I'm
Ridley.
saying, yeah. But I'm just saying, you were before. You're like, yeah, I could keep Brooks as a keeper. Yeah, we all know he's a good. It's a good pick.
Yeah.
The other ones though, like I said, I mean, the Ridley.
The thought that you weren't going to take Ridley there over
Yeah.
Odunze.
I'm not mad at that though.
You
Yeah,
really
I mean,
would have taken Odunze over Ridley there?
Yeah, I do. I do like Ridley, but not there. And the last point I'll weigh out is what you talked about briefly. Is like when you introduce your other leagues into your perspective of this league, I think that's illogical. Like I don't think you should be like, oh, Joe Burrow's burnt me, so I don't want to take Chase. I don't want to take Higgins. In my other league, I got burnt by Joe Burrow. It's almost like when you're playing poker and you're like, oh, I got pocket nines. I lost with pocket nines last time I played them. I'm not going to play these
Never
pocket
play them
nines
again.
Exactly. Like, you know,
Oh,
you
I
gotta
am
just,
though. I am a fucking that guy though.
you're like spiteful towards things that
Spiteful,
aren't
super loyal.
intellectual.
I get burned, and Burrow is just fucking with me. And this wrist thing, this new injury, this new surgery that's never been done to a quarterback before. All of it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, it's like I said, I understand it, but I think it's illogical. If you want to use like a hunch or a feeling every once in a while, like trust your gut. But if you're like justifying reasons to not take someone because like, oh, in my other league last year this happened, and I think it becomes a bit of like
it's a bad slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's move to the next team here.
Oh, the snake.
We got Snake Ross.
Jake's team here.
So he's like, no, I'm not feeling good. I can't come over.
Can't
And just
come.
went out to another barbecue.
Yeah, unfortunately. Shout out Jake. Hopefully you feel better, bro. Probably going through it, I'm sure. It doesn't help to be a dad at the same time, I'm sure either. So his head's probably up the fucking
Oh, boo-hoo, Jake.
Boo-hoo. Anyways, let's look at some of these picks here. All right,
I was
so
gonna say, being unbiased, Jake's team looks pretty solid top to bottom.
Maine, tell me your favorite pick on his team, and then tell me your least favorite pick on his team.
My favorite pick.
Yeah. You like Amari in the fourth there?
I like Amari. Amari was one of my guys. He took Amari from me, and I think that he's going to go off, especially now that Jake has him. I hate Jake.
Fair enough. Who's your? I figured it would be Amari. That's a nice.
All biased aside, but I still hate Jake.
No, the fact that he complimented his team, and I know he hates Jake.
Favorite pick.
No,
Because
it's
what
like
spoke
looking at it,
volumes.
and I'm like,
But then again, Maine endorsing your team is like getting an endorsement from like AOC. You know,
Yeah.
like who cares?
damn, right away.
We're talking about Aiden O'Connell, Jermaine, not.
No, I was talking about Alexandria
I know.
Ocasio.
All right.
But that did speak volumes for Maine to endorse it to talk
his
well
team's
about
pretty
Jake's team.
strong. You got a couple guys that I was looking at: Khalil Shakir, Rico Dowdle.
That's
Thielen's a
Zamir
good
White,
late
fifth round pick. We like
Brenton
that.
Johnston. These are all late picks. He got some decent picks. I mean, I guess you know what? Like, if I had to like hate on one of his picks, is like the defense so early. I'm just that's just, I just like I get it, but I'm just not like just go get something else. Try to get some other talent there. You know, I know it's thin in a 14, but like I feel
I
like
got fucking Christian McCaffrey's handcuff right after him. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can go get a handcuff, or you can go get somebody that might pop, but. I don't know.
Of the mind of what Jermaine's saying, I always like to wait for defenses. I'll stream defenses all year. I'm never taking a defense before the last two picks, so I agree with you. I will say playing Russell Wilson twice a year helps with Cleveland's defense. And him in Pittsburgh, I feel like it's going to be a disaster. I would say in terms of his, I'll be brief. We'll turn it over to someone else, but his worst pick, I have to go with that Zamir White 5th round. I don't know what Vegas is. I don't know what they're going to do. He had a good, strong finish to last year, but I think that's more of like an 8th, maybe 7th round pick. I also hate Zach Moss. I think that Chase Brown is the guy by week 5 or 6. I think that's Zach Moss has had opportunities and had those opportunities taken from him. We saw it.
Zach Moss is on his team. Hodge.
You're on Eddie's team.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
He got Njoku that round. It's one before.
Oh, I'm off by one. I apologize. And his best pick, I would say, is Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall shouldn't have made it to 5, honestly.
Yeah,
that's what I said.
Maybe top 5 RB.
I'm with you. I think it's hard to take Breece over Amon-Ra, but I mean, I wasn't expecting him to take Breece, but I like that pick a lot. Also, I think Pittman in 3 is also a little bit of a reach. I mean, I personally would rather Waddle and Devontae Smith over Michael Pittman.
Okay. I think that's a bit of a hot take, but not crazy at all. What about you, Zach? Where are you at here with Jake's draft?
Jake's draft is nice. I like the Shakir pick. I think he could be a 17-game player, just like 900 yards, 7 touchdowns with Josh Allen type of guy. Like, I'm not saying he'll go crazy, but he'll be very steady. I feel like a guy you could definitely throw in the flex every week. Quentin Johnston, I don't know. Thielen, no. That looks like a bad pick. Brown's defense is elite, but it is early. I agree with Jermaine. I don't like Watson at all. I think he's injured too, and he hasn't played good football in 3 years. So it's just like, what the fuck is that guy? It's the worst contract in NFL history. That's what that looks like.
Adam Thielen was fantastic last year.
I think Adam Thielen is actually a very good pick. I have to agree with you.
What are you getting in the 10th round?
You got Deontay. They drafted Leggett. I just don't know the opportunity is what I'm asking there.
I know,
but I know Adam Thielen is good.
And him throw. That's true, I guess.
At the end of the day, I know Adam Thielen is a good player. Yeah, he's
got 137 targets last year.
He's actually the oldest wide receiver in the NFL right now.
Is that real?
That's true. Adam Thielen. I heard him on a podcast recently. That's the only reason I know.
Bro, these targets are nuts. You want to hear these? 14, 8, 13, 13, 11, 10, 11, 7, 7.
They throw it out.
He played him every year in Dynasty. I need to
throw it at him.
Half of them, though, for the record.
But Adam Thielen, I really do like. I think that he's a guy who is a good player. At the end of the day, he can run routes. He can get open. Whereas Leggett, Deontay Johnson, too. Like, Deontay Johnson, I guess getting open isn't necessarily the problem, but he's a drop guy for me. He's a drop passes guy for me, and I don't love drafting those kinds of guys.
He's a hamstring guy too, soft tissue every year it feels like with that guy.
All right, I say we move on. There's a lot to go on this next one.
I actually have another draft at 6:30.
There's a lot to go on with Eddie's team.
Eddie's team is nuts.
I just want to say, let's not try to rush. We're gonna go over today. We got a lot more to go through. Let's not force it. Let's just take our time. If people got to leave, they got to leave. Whatever. Me and Zach will finish.
Yeah.
Because we're already at an hour and we got a bunch of teams. So, but with Eddie's team, I don't know I already talked about Zach Moss being terrible pick. I think I could go through every pick and be like, that's a bad pick. That's a bad pick. That's a bad pick.
Not a fan of Eddie's team then.
Yeah, I mean, the worst one is Jackson Smith and Jigba, round 6. I'm done.
Alvin Kamara too.
I think Alvin Kamara went way too
so many better players.
Yeah, he picked a name there. I agree.
I think Alvin Kamara gets too much hate. I think he's went mid-second round. I think he's an early third-round pick would have been fine. So I don't think it's that crazy. Jackson Smith and Jigba, shocked me. I had no idea that was coming anytime soon.
Zach loves him.
I like him. I think he could emerge. I think he's looked good in the preseason. He has a lot of talent. I think Lockett's going to take a step back this year, and he's ready to take that step forward. Even though Mike McDonald, the coach, is a defensive coach, they're probably going to run the shit out of the ball.
It's a lot of I thinks in there.
A lot of I thinks for sure, but I think that JSN will take a step forward and Lockett will take the step back.
Too many I thinks for a 6th-round pick for me. That's crazy.
Fair enough. I mean, Jonathan Brooks is an I think.
Your whole team is.
Jonathan Brooks.
You're a hater. Bijan Robinson and Lamar Jackson and Laporta and these guys are not I thinks, Jermaine. You're a hater. We'll get to your stuff in a second. Don't worry.
I'll isolate the worst one as Jackson Smith and Jigba. The second worst one is Najee Harris. I'd rather have Jalen Warren than Najee Harris, even if you took them in the same round. Like, I think Jalen Warren will have. There's maybe not will. I don't know if I'd put a bet on it, but I would put the odds on like plus 150 that Jalen Warren outscores Najee Harris in fantasy this year.
His team is interesting. McLaurin, we talked about before, the quarterback is new there. Anybody else have thoughts on this team? Yeah, McLaurin is a good player, but
that's fair for him in the 5th.
That's his best pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Waddle is hurt. Kamara, I don't love. Gus Edwards. Okay.
I love
Goddard.
Jalen Waddle despite his
Yeah.
quote unquote
When he's
undisclosed
healthy, he's
injury
so good at
issues.
football.
I mean, he got a Monra kind of late, but
Yeah, he's so good at football. But
We talked about Amon-Ra, though. Off air we said the consensus, at least among me, Jermaine, and Casey, is that Jefferson and Chase belonged in front of Amon-Ra.
yes,
Think so?
Yes.
yes.
Amon-Ra
110%.
had 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns last year.
All right, and obviously Jefferson had an injury, but the year before that he had like 20 touchdowns and like
Yeah.
1,700 yards.
Hold on, I'm
Yeah.
going to it
Kurt
right
with
now.
Burke Buzzin.
And
New boy.
Kirk O'Bangs.
That guy doesn't play for Minnesota anymore.
Yeah, he had
A guy
1,800.
that
I
couldn't
think the effect that Kirk Cousins had on Justin Jefferson is vastly less than the effect that Justin Jefferson had on Kirk Cousins. Justin Jefferson is the better player at his position out of those two guys.
I mean,
He is the one bailing out Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is
Bails
the
out
one
everyone.
setting up Justin Jefferson. Kirk
Bails out
Cousins is an
everyone.
average quarterback.
I would say that Kirk Cousins playing with Justin Jefferson raises Kirk Cousins' value for sure, but it also raises Justin Jefferson's stat for sure. And I think the same goes for when Kirk Cousins played with McLaurin versus like McLaurin just scratching the K versus really looking like the elite receiver when he had a good quarterback consistently with Alex Smith or Kirk Cousins, whoever was there with McLaurin. So
I don't know
think-
if McLaurin ever played with
maybe I was
Kirk
thinking with
Cousins.
Alex Smith then, but that's why I threw his name in there. But I
Did
just
he?
feel like
Maybe
Jefferson will be on the low end. Jefferson will be on the low end of the 1,000 yards or this 1,200 yard season. He's not going to go for the season that you just discussed without a Kirk Cousins. Sam Darnold couldn't
Yeah,
win the job in the
disagree.
Panthers. Sam Darnold is a bad quarterback. He couldn't win the job in San Francisco. He couldn't win the job in Carolina. He hasn't won the
Yeah,
job.
can you see
Why
the
are we all
comments
of a
on the
sudden
right?
thinking he's going to throw the ball well right now?
Can you see the comments on the right?
I can't. Let me see.
So instead of private chat, click comments.
Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, gap between him and Sam Darnold is thinner than you think it is, in my opinion. I don't think Kirk Cousins is very good. I think Kirk Cousins is an average quarterback.
Wow,
He's right around
4,000 yards
15.
is average.
He's over 4,000 yards like 8 seasons straight. Sam
All right,
Darnold
so
has
he's
never done
over 4,000 yards is average at this point in the NFL.
Well,
Life
he's talking fantasy
term.
though. I'm not saying
So,
he's a
but-
winner. He's a loser. We all know that. But I'm saying stats wise, he fills it up.
But I think that Sam
You're giving
Darnold
me a
has
layup.
never had weapons like Justin Jefferson throughout the course of his entire
True.
career.
Just throw it up. He's coming down with it.
Who
That's how
has
you get
Sam
hurt. That's how
Darnold?
you got hurt.
Who
Oh,
has
that's what
Sam
happened last
Darnold?
year. Oh, got it.
Who has Sam Darnold thrown to
True.
who's even close to Justin
Yeah.
The
Jefferson?
amount of hospital balls that Sam Darnold's going to throw and get Justin Jefferson.
But that's
is-
what I'm
You're
saying.
just saying that. He doesn't have a history of getting his
Last year he played
receivers.
with dog shit. He got
So-
hurt.
Sam
my thing
Darnold
is
doesn't
this.
have a history of getting his receivers hurt. That's something he
My
just
thing
pulled
is
out
this.
of thin air.
Yeah, that's-
He was
that's
playing
not-
with Quincy Enunwa as his number one receiver with the Jets. Come on, dude. Come on. You know that I'm right that the gap is insane.
Quincy
That's the
Enunwa.
thing. We agree
What
that
a pull.
Jefferson's floor is 1,208 touchdowns. We agree that he's still a formidable player. I'm not hating, but I'm just saying-
Formidable.
but he's not going to have the season.
What are you talking about? Formidable. He's the
Where
fucking
does
best wide
Zach?
receiver.
Okay, so here we go. Where do you think that he finishes in the wide receiver?
Randy
ranking?
Moss went to Tom Brady, even
No,
when he
no,
was an
that's
older
it.
player.
That's what
He
it
broke
comes down
every
to.
record because he's playing with Tom Brady. When you play
So
with
let
a
me-
better quarterback,
Zach,
you're
let me
standing.
Yeah,
ask
you're
you-
comparing Kirk Cousins to Tom Brady.
Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold is the same comparison.
Nah, it's
No.
not. Tom Brady and Kirk Cousins is way farther apart.
No, it's
than
not even
Kirk
the same
Cousins and Sam
conversation. You got a
Darnold.
guy who's the
Kirk
GOAT,
Cousins
and you
and
got a
Sam
guy who's
Darnold
never
is
won a
the same
playoff
gap
game.
as Kirk Cousins and Tom Brady.
Playoffs?
No, you're dumb.
Playoffs?
That's a dumb comment.
No, it's not. Sam Darnold is dog shit.
Oh my god.
Sam
Tom
Darnold
Brady's
is
the
dirt.
greatest
Let me
quarterback
ask
of
this
all
question.
time.
So
Sam
here's my
Darnold is
question.
dirt.
Where do you
Dude,
think Jed
that
is going
is
to finish
insane.
in wide receiver rankings? Do you think he's going to be top 10? So then the pick is fine.
I didn't say anything about the pick yet.
Or I'm just saying, so like that's so then I don't understand the hate.
I'm not hating
behind
the
it.
pick. I'm just saying we were talking about him having 1,800. We were talking about him versus Amon-Ra is what you said. That's all
Yeah.
we're talking about. Let's get back to
Do you
topic.
think no, okay,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I'm
Jared
just saying-
Goff and Kirk
that-
Cousins are the same thing.
I just
pretty
said that
much.
all I said was Amon-Ra had 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns with Jared Goff as his quarterback. Jared Goff is another Kirk Cousins, a guy that can throw 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins has done that multiple times. Sam Darnold has never won the job anywhere he's ever been. It's a fucking dog shit player. What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, and Kirk Cousins is fucking average at best, dude.
I agree
I
with
don't
And
know
you.
like I
about that.
said,
I think Kirk
Jeff,
Cousins is
the
better.
argument was that Justin Jefferson helped Kirk Cousins more than Kirk Cousins
Brady
helped
is 1
Justin
and Kirk Cousins
Jefferson.
is 15. Sam Darnold is 30.
Sam Darnold hasn't played with anyone close to number 1 Justin Jefferson. His
Yeah.
best receiver was number 174, maybe.
Okay.
It's a fact.
I'm not saying that
'Cause
fucking
I understand what you're
Sam
saying,
Darnold
too,
is good. I'm
honestly.
saying Sam Darnold has never had a receiver like Justin Jefferson who you could
Yes.
just throw it up to.
If you can just get it into his radius, Jetta's gonna come down with it.
I'll say it again, Quincy Anunwa.
Accurate.
All right.
JJ makes the QB better, not the
We'll
QB
digress.
makes
We'll
JJ
digress.
better.
I agree with that sentiment too. I agree with that sentiment, Casey.
All right,
All right, we'll
moving
digress.
on.
Moving on.
Eddie,
moving
your
on.
team sucks.
Eddie, we're not hating. We never hate. There's some picks I like here, by the way. AR could end up being a very good player, and that's very late. He's going to rush the ball. Likely could be in the fold to be the starting tight end. Mark Andrews has been hurt before. He's an older
Yeah,
player.
Isaiah Likely too.
Yeah, Likely is a
That's a great
talented
pick.
player. That could be a guy. So I don't
Mark
want to
Andrews
really
always
shit on
gets
Eddie's
hurt.
team. There's still opportunity here. And like Hot said, Kamara could still be Kamara.
He had 75 fucking catches last year.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is still going to be a check down merchant.
Fact.
He's
Fact.
going to get a ton of PPR, half point PPR. Just
Perfect terminology, by the way. Check down merchant. That's
as a
Check
as an
down,
owner
bro.
of Kamara last year, there was one game where he had like 15 catches for like 25 yards and like 10 rushes for like 35, but that's still like a 17-point game.
Yeah. No, I understand that for sure.
Yeah.
But I definitely think there's some talent on this team. I think St. Brown is good for 13, 15,
Eddie said
like 8
Eddie
to 10
said his
touchdowns.
team will go further than Hotz's team in the comments.
He won't make another side bet though. He's already going to owe me 10 push-ups and $10.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to your brother-in-law here, Hots. You can kick it off for us with Ficini's team here.
Sheen.
Let's take a look here. What do we got here?
Oh, Eddie said and
He
Zach.
fumbled the bag first pick too.
And mine. I'm not betting anybody. My team has got a lot of work to do.
Pacini
Eddie.
fumbled the bag first pick.
You got it, Eddie.
Yeah,
You got it.
Ficini is the reason why
I want
Casey
no
got
problem.
Justin
There's
Jefferson.
3 dudes. The next 3 dudes, I'm taking all 3 of them before I take his guy.
Yeah, fuck AJ Brown. I'll just
I'm
go real
taking
quick.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Garrett Wilson all before I take AJ Brown.
The
don't
worst
know
pick.
if I'm taking
The worst
Garrett.
pick is
I'm not
Austin
taking Garrett.
Eckler, 6th round. Austin Eckler, 6th round is the worst pick. Any Washington running back, we're all on my fucking radar. Don't draft. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm looking at the chat real quick. Eddie said $20. My team will go farther than Hot's team and Zach's. Zach said he's not taking any bets. I'm taking that bet right now. Virtual handshake.
Oh,
Last side bet of
I
the
like
season.
that.
Send it, yo, Eddie, send it to Rob in the chat so he can put
Yeah,
it in
put it in the chat.
put it in the
Put it in the
fucking
league
chat,
chat.
on Sleeper in the league chat.
Fucking, I'm already 1-0 in side bets. Season hasn't
Wait, I
started
can
yet
do it
because
right now.
dumbass Nick thought CeeDee Lamb was going to sit out all
do it right
year.
now.
What an idiot.
That's amazing.
All right, but who else? All right, next, Ficini's team. What's his worst pick?
Worst
Casey.
pick? Yeah, I don't know. Casey, go ahead. What do you think?
I low key kind of like his team actually.
Okay.
I agree. I think Eckler is probably not the best pick there, but he literally had no other running back, so he didn't really have much of a choice. But I kind of love Jameson Williams. I know everyone's like, oh, this could be the year, and we're still just waiting for it based on like his, he's talented, super athletic, fast as fuck. Other than that, I kind of like his team weirdly.
It's an interesting team.
So what's your favorite pick that makes you like it then?
I like Rashad White a lot, and I like Jameson Williams in the 8th.
Nice.
Zeke, I don't like at all, but was his keeper. But I mean,
That's his
late-round
best
keeper.
option. I mean, if you look at Zeke's numbers last year, 900 total yards, 6 touchdowns, 55 catches, 9th
Yeah.
round. That's
Not bad.
And he's on a better offense, a better team.
Rashad had over 17 rushes
home.
in a game 9 times last year.
He catches the ball a lot.
And he catches the ball too. Rashad's a nice pick.
I do like Rashad. I definitely had him on my radar. I was thinking about him over Mixon. Those were really what I was down to there at that spot, Mixon or Rashad White. So I like that pick. I would have taken him 5 picks earlier and not had a problem with it.
Maine, who do you like on Cheney's team?
Cheney, Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is a nice player. If he can stay
You
healthy.
love Mark Andrews. You have a crush on Mark Andrews. I'm pretty
I do.
sure.
I like Mark Andrews a lot too.
No, it's
I'm a
Casey.
big fan.
Casey
I'm a
has-
big fan.
He had him 2 years in a row.
Casey needs the jersey for sure. Before
I
we-
like-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Mark Andrews.
Honestly, that's what I was shooting for on the back end of the my
with Kincaid.
my back 2 picks. I would have taken Lamar and Mark Andrews if they were there, but Zach here took Lamar. I thought quarterbacks were going to go a little bit further, but let me stay on top.
A weird. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Maine.
So I like the Mark Andrews.
Yeah, the
I
more
like Xavier Legette. Yeah, Xavier Legette.
Yeah, Jameson Williams could be interesting.
Just, I mean, like, I'm not a fan of Eckler because of like the Washington thing, but like, I don't really hate his team. I don't think his receiver, like, I don't like his first round pick at all. Like I said, I think I would have taken the next 3 guys all above him.
This team has.
Yeah, I 100% agree. The AJ Brown pick stinks. One thing I'll say is sneaky things I like about it. It's very weird. One thing, like, it was definitely not the standard auto draft shit, so I like that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'll say is Jordan Love, 7th round QB, has the potential to be a QB1, to be honest.
Yeah.
He threw the second most touchdown passes in the NFL after Dak last year.
Ripped it.
And receivers are getting a little bit better. He's getting a little bit better. They get Josh Jacobs back there instead of Aaron Jones. I think is a slight upgrade. You get younger at running back. And then another pick I sneaky like is Will Shipley. I think he can be the Eagles' receiving running back. I think he's better than Kenny Gainwell. And if Saquon were to go down, I'd like Shipley as a player more than I like Gainwell. So I don't hate that pick at all.
Shipley's cool.
Yeah, Shipley's a cool pick.
And he's a white guy who plays running back, so obviously us whites are going to fucking like him.
There's not a lot of them. It's not a lot of them, you know? We even claim Eckler.
We don't claim Eckler. You might. Don't speak for the white coalition.
One thing I would say about Pacini's team is is Deebo Samuel or Zay Flowers better? Who's going to have the better season? And it's like they're one's drafted in the 4th round, the other's drafted in the 2nd round.
That's easy. Deebo Samuel.
I think Zay has an opportunity to be.
Deebo Samuel could get hurt and this and that, and Zay Flowers had a good year last year, but Deebo Samuel's runs the ball, catches the ball. He's when Deebo Samuels was hurt, they went 0-3 last year. He's the focal point of the team.
For sure. Especially even
after McCaffrey. He's the second focal point of the team, I should say.
Yeah. He's a beast.
If Zay Flowers is better than Debo, it's a great pick at Zay Flowers.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's a good pick.
Zay Flowers, which could be.
The last 3 years, Debo's had 8 touchdowns on the ground. 8, 3, and 5.
Just rushing.
Yeah,
that's as a wide receiver.
And then he gets you 6, and then he had a bit down year with 2 and 7 through the air.
Yeah. The 2 is definitely an anomaly there.
Yeah,
seven receiving touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns in the same year is crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I have him in my dynasty team.
5+ rushing and receiving. That's going to be hard to find for a non-running back.
He does get hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody else
good for 2 to 3 games out.
Like historically, you'll be hard to find 5 rushing touchdowns and 7 receiving touchdowns, or even 5 and 5 for a receiver. For running backs, you'll see that the Tomlinsons, the Marshall Falks.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of another receiver, to be honest, who had that kind of.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, that's a good stat pull, man.
There you go. All right, let's move on to Delos.
Schwanz. What a dog team.
All right, so
first off, I just want to shout out D'Lo for not coming last night. He's like, I got to watch my daughter, and then we saw him on the screen not watching his daughter and drafting the whole time in the Discord.
She was just laying there.
Yeah, he's just doing anything but watching his daughter.
Literally.
Like that. We know that this is an excuse you use because it's convenient because you're a dad. Just so you know, everyone's caught on. Moving on from that. I guess his team is decently solid. I kind of like some of the flashier moves. I think he should have kept Jerome Ford instead of Mahomes, late round Jerome Ford. But Patrick
Mahomes.
Mahomes,
We have Jerome Ford.
I want to say like 14 or something like that.
Or like another Kyron type of thing.
Yeah, but not as good as Kyron, obviously.
But Kyron, late.
But Patrick Mahomes, his regular seasons, in terms of fantasy, have not been at the level of like an elite fantasy quarterback. He doesn't run the ball really.
Trending down.
I love him. He's the best football playing quarterback in the world, but fantasy football, he doesn't get the rushing numbers that you need to be an elite fantasy quarterback, in my opinion.
I agree.
I'm looking at him right now. Last
Yeah,
year,
I'm
with
looking at him.
4,100 yards and 27 touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. That's not a good year for a fantasy quarterback. 5 fumbles too, and he had 14 interceptions. That's a lot for a quarter. That's a lot. That's like Eli Manning.
I would venture to say that's not a top 7 fantasy football season as a quarterback.
It isn't. There's no way. It can't be. Can't be.
I don't think so.
If it is, it's 7. It would be number 7.
I mean, I know off the top of my head, Dak and Jordan Love had more passing touchdowns.
2022, without Tyreek Hill, he had 5,200 yards and 41 touchdowns. They just drafted Xavier Worthy. They had just
to end the season, to go on Hotz's point, outside of the playoffs. So from week 11, after the bye, he finished quarterback 15, quarterback 8, quarterback 16, 20, 14, 16, 25.
And that's in the fantasy playoffs when you're trying to win a championship.
So mid, exactly.
Those are the numbers he's delivering for you.
And earlier in the season, he was 7, 11, 5, 17, 11, 7, 1.
That's not even 30, that. That's not even.
It's a mid quarterback. And I'm not saying he's a mid quarterback in life. I'm
not at all.
Fantasy.
No, it's Patty.
Talking fantasy,
Patty. He is a goat.
He is the guy, right?
He is a goat.
Unbelievably great. I would do anything for him to be the Cowboys quarterback. I would
talk about
cut off my hand.
It makes me hate him now.
Did you watch the Olympics with Steph Curry? It's the same exact thing.
That would be a good Hots Corner question. What would you cut off of your body to have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback for your team?
I might give up one.
A whole ass hand. For the Cowboys.
No shot. Need hand.
I'd probably give a finger or two. I'd probably give a pinky.
You can take a testy. I can
rock a testy. Nate said a testicle.
Holy crap!
You have one.
I'm clipping that. I'm putting that in the chat. I'm clipping
Pause.
that.
You said that way too casual because you thought about it for a second.
I said it what? The Falcons have never won.
You guys have Kirk Cousins. There's opportunity right now.
I know that, but if we have Mahomes, it's done.
Yeah,
if you get Mahomes for 5 years, you're probably getting a Super Bowl.
If you give Patrick Mahomes the Falcons right now,
you think the fucking Mahomes could break the Falcons curse? I don't know, man. That Falcon curse is fucking elite.
Jermaine's just thought about it for a second. He's just a testy.
3 lives and breathes should be a banner for it.
You're all right with one, dude.
That's awesome. I forgot what we were talking about.
Oh, talking about D'Lo's bitch ass team. All right.
The
pick I hate is Kyle Pitts, the most overrated tight end in football. That's my least favorite pick.
I kind of like Kyle Pitts this year, weirdly, but not a lot.
And you like Kirk Cousins? We're back again. Look at this. Here we go.
No, I don't like Kirk Cousins. I just think that Kyle Pitts is gonna it's almost like breaking it's like that weird. How am I gonna put this?
He's gonna break the mold.
It's going to be the 1 year in his career where he has a good year.
He had a first season, right? As a rookie, I think.
But I mean, like a good fantasy season, a top 3 tight end fantasy. I feel like this is the 1 year he does it.
Kyle Pitts, maybe.
Yeah,
he's gonna be good.
His best pick is.
Oh damn! Jamie's on here saying Casey's texting his hoe.
Danny's best pick was deciding not to show up because we all would have made fun of him the whole time. That was his best pick of the
day. That's fucked up.
Need my hand.
Named in the neighbors.
Oh my god! All right, let's go back to D'Lo's team here. Brian Robinson, we don't know what that. Hollywood Brown might be the worst pick. Actually, the next pick, he's hurt. I'm pretty sure, and there's a ton of mouths on that team.
Dislocated chest.
Hollywood Brown over Xavier Worthy. That's another side bet I'm ready to throw out there.
Oh, really? You're taking Hollywood over Xavier?
Yeah, more fans. Give me 2-1 odds on
Maine bet then. That's for Maine.
1.5 to 1 odds. Hollywood Brown will outscore Xavier Worthy.
He's sitting there pondering.
If I win, you pay me 15. If you win, I pay you 10. I got Hollywood Brown. You got Xavier Worthy.
Hollywood Brown to outscore Xavier Worthy.
Yeah.
Casey, what do you think about that?
I don't like either of them.
I'll take it.
I would probably take.
Maine said, "I'll take it. Lock it in. Side bet."
I would take Hollywood over Xavier.
15-10. Hot.
So if I win, Maine owes me 15. If Maine wins, I owe him 10. But
I'll take it.
I'm already up 20, so I'm cruising.
Yeah, you're playing with house money. You're playing with Nick's money right now.
Honestly, I think that Xavier Worthy could be a lead
Nick's
winner.
holding out on paying me, hoping that like CD Lamb was hurt in practice and ends up missing the first 4 games, and he like wins on a technicality. He's like, I'm not paying you 20 till he plays. Like, it was about the contract. You trying to win on a technicality? He got the contract.
Yo, Maine, Casey, who do you guys like on D'Lo's team, and who do you guys think is not a good pick on that team?
I think Hollywood Brown's a terrible pick. I think Brian Robinson is actually not a bad pick. I think Gabe Davis has good value in 7, and
That's 10. 10, you mean 10?
I mean 10, yeah.
Yeah.
10. I think Pickens is all right too.
I don't like Josh Jacobs.
You don't like Josh Jacobs in the second round.
No,
I do.
because I just feel like there's other guys who could have.
Who do you take there of the next guys that got drafted there? Who's a guy that you take there over Jacobs?
I'd rather have James Cook, Mixon,
James,
Same. Me too.
Devontae Adams, Diggs, Mike Evans,
all guys you'd rather have than Jacobs.
Debo. Like, I think I'd rather take almost everyone that came after him except Kamara. Like, of the big names.
I would have taken Josh Jacobs over Joe Mixon if he got to me there.
I like Josh Jacobs.
It depends on
Devontae, 100% agree with you. I'm still shocked about that.
Yeah, like that's stupid.
They're
That
a
he got
3
all
wide
the way back.
set on Green Bay. Every time they come out, they play that 3 wide receiver set.
That's
so
what I'm
it's
saying.
like,
They're slinging that thing.
yeah, I know. You know, he's going to throw the ball
You know?
40 times a game. I don't know. Jacobs is nice though. He's such a talented player. He's a 3-down back.
Yeah, he's
too.
good. But I just think my thing is he's a bulk like running back. Like, he needs those 30 carries.
Yeah, and it's
He
not
ain't
going to work
getting that
for
with
shotgun
Jordan
either. He's a single back.
Getting that with Jordan Love, like, he's going to get 15 to 20, and I think he's going to be efficient. I think he's going to be good, but I think you'll see more 80-yard, 1 touchdown games out of him than you do the crazy year where he had, 125 and 3. Like, I don't.
But he's also going to catch 3 passes for 35 yards.
right.
Yeah, he'll
take
take
his
that.
hands.
But
And AJ Dillon's hurt.
That, but
It's
I
just
just think
Jacobs
that,
there. So
I just think that like I said, I just think he's on a downward trend as opposed to.
Well, Jamie
he
agrees with you. He's got the downward
Yeah.
graph emoji after him in the chat. So
Yeah, I just. I don't
let's
know.
go to Casey's team here. Let's take a look here.
Hey,
Casey has to abstain. Hots, you want to kick it off here and tell us
Casey got a big
who
win.
you like on this team, who you
First
don't
off.
like on this team.
Well, obviously Justin Jefferson 9, Travis Kelce in the second round. I think that's about as great of a start as you could have expected with the 9th round pick, to be honest. So that's brilliant. After that, I don't love Ramondre Stevenson. I don't love Aaron Jones. I don't love Keenan Allen. I don't love Brian Thomas. And then after that, it picks back up with Daniels, Brown, A-Chain. Polk, I love. I do think Casey had one of the stronger drafts, but I did think he missed the mark a little bit in that 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
The meat of the draft there. Maine, what do you think there?
I'm gonna agree. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
So I'll flip it a little bit.
I don't mind Keenan.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I don't mind Keenan. I feel like they could use and abuse him because he's only there on the year contract, and he's the guy that's underneath, as we were discussing earlier. So if there is going to be a safety blanket on that team, it feels like it'd be him. He's the most talented and polished route runner on in the league, you could argue sometimes. So Aaron Jones, I mean, they're going to have to run the ball on that team. He's due to get hurt for sure, but he's so talented, and they're going to have to run the ball. I can't stress that enough. So he could end up being a really good running back if he can stay up this year. Ramondre, I'm iffies too. The offense, who knows? But he's at least a bell cow. He'll be their 3-down back. So Jaden Daniels has a lot of pop ability. Could be a Lamar Jackson type. He's got the wiggle, as they say, like the way he runs the ball and plays football. Like a lot of stuff off schedule. He could be really cool. We don't really know there. So that could be a fun pick, and he got Goff to back it up, which is smart. That guy's 4,030 touchdown the last 2 seasons. So, and it changed so late. It's a cool team. It's definitely a cool team. I think if Aaron Jones hits, it's going to be really a competitive team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Aaron Jones hitting is the most optimistic perspective.
Yep.
You talk about guys like Ezekiel Elliott, to a further extent, even Dalvin Cook. These are the 29-year-old running backs, and they're accounted as of over the hill and guys who are on the downward trajectory of their careers. And they're taking, we're scoffing at 9th round keeper Ezekiel Elliott. we're talking about Dalvin Cook. Obviously, it's another level, but these guys who carried a lot of workload and now are getting aged. Aaron Jones is 29 years old. Aaron Jones was just the Packers basically just let him go for nothing to get younger. And then also Aaron Jones, if you look at his numbers, they're worse than Ezekiel Elliott's in the regular season last year. We remember that great playoff game against the Cowboys where he scored the touchdowns to, make that a blowout game, and he played very well. But if you look at his season, you talk about barring injuries, he's always banged up. He's always inconsistent. Yeah, and for a fourth-round pick, I get he's the number one running back there now, but I'm a huge Ty Chandler guy. I was big on him last year, used him, helped me in the playoffs. I think that is more of a 50-50 split versus Aaron Jones dominated backfield.
Well, Aaron Jones had 5 or 6 games straight to finish the season last year, including the playoffs, of over 100 yards. So when he came back from injury, he was a beast. It wasn't just the one game. It was like 5 or 6 games straight, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, the entire season, he started 11 games and had 656 yards. So that would be a mathematical anomaly, if he had 100 yards straight in 5 straight games to end the season.
I think 2 of them were maybe playoff games then, but I know that
3. Week 16, he had 127, 17, 120, and 18, 111.
And then,
so the last 3 games.
So the last 3 games and then the one playoff game. So it was 4 total?
3 games he crushed. Week 15, he had.
What about the playoffs? Is what I'm saying. Like the
and then against the Cowboys, he had a big game. I get what you're saying, but that's also like, again, so if you're relying on week 16, week 17, week 18, which is the fantasy play, you're in the fantasy playoffs. Actually, only 2 of those games are even in the fantasy playoffs. Yeah, week 18 isn't even a counting week in the fantasy.
Right.
So you need to get there. Your 4th-round pick shouldn't be like, at the end of the season he could come on strong. You need to be 9-5 in the regular season to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to be like, he crushed it at the end of the season last year. You got to look at the season as a whole. Like I said, 656 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 300 receiving yards. It's not going to cut it.
Do you rather Zamir White or Javonte Williams or Najee?
No, I don't. I guess I don't. That's why I think where I stand in this 14-team league, keeper league, getting running backs early is so important.
Yeah.
And I know that you did what you were supposed to do with those first 2 picks. And then Ramondre, I think I could be a little more – I probably am too critical of. That's probably the right pick there. You have to go best running back available, and if he is that guy, you have to take him. But I do think Aaron Jones, I'll look back at the draft now. I was looking at his stats, but, everyone made fun of Javi. I kind of like David Montgomery over –
I was about to say. I was just about to say it.
David Montgomery went over before Aaron Jones. Excuse me. I apologize.
David Montgomery was the Ramondre choice. Between Ramondre and David Montgomery is what happened there, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I like him too.
At that point, it's almost like you punted running backs already. Maybe it's better to go with another wide receiver and just go strong there, or try to get a quarterback. Just be like, all right, the running back time has passed. I got to kind of switch my strategy up.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I just don't like Aaron Jones this year. Maybe that's just I want to make my take public. Maybe that's what this is more about. I just think Aaron Jones is, like I said, 29 years old, coming off an overall bad fantasy year. Yes, he finished the year strong, but overall he had a poor fantasy year. Less than 1,000 total yards between rushing and receiving, and less than 6 touchdowns. That's not a 4th-round pick to me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure. We'll see what happens with the new offense in Minnesota.
All right, moving on to fucking Javier's stupid ass.
Let's take a look here. Casey, you want to kick us off here and let us know who you're thinking about is a good pick here? We just talked about Ty Chandler.
Why don't you kick it off? We were just on his team. Give him a second to process.
All right, fine. I love the Kyron Williams. No, I'm just kidding. That's a keeper in the 14th round. This fucking guy. Ty Chandler, we just talked about in the 9th round. I like him. We just talked about Aaron Jones's ability to get hurt. Kyler could end up being a guy. He's got a lot of weapons now with Harrison and McBride. Kyler in the 5th. He also has a scrambling quarterback. Kyler could end up being QB1 this year if he stays healthy. The talent that he has. So as much as I hate on Kyler because he gets hurt and he's unreliable, he's super talented, and that's also undeniable. Jake Ferguson is a guy that could get 10 receiving touchdowns. If Dak throws 35 touchdowns and 20 of them, let's say, or 15 of them go to CD, who's catching the other like 20 or so, whatever it ends up being for Dak, who slings the rock. Jake Ferguson is primed for a lot of those. The guy's got talent. So I like him in the 6th round. Picks I hate. I don't like Tank Dell. He's just small. They added Diggs. It just doesn't make and Mixon. It doesn't make sense that his targets would go up. So he's got to make the most of when he's going to get those targets. I feel like, even though he plays a specific role for them, but I still think that that's going to eat into his targets. I hate the Garrett Wilson pick. Rodgers. Yeah, I hate that pick there, especially because of the other guys that are available, as mentioned. I like ETN more. Running back is way more scarce. I like ETN. He's a 3 down. I like Barkley in that offense more. I like Devontae Adams.
I have a question.
Harrison more. Excuse me.
So Kirk Cousins means more to Justin Jefferson than Aaron Rodgers means to Garrett Wilson.
I think Aaron Rodgers will finish with less stats than Kirk Cousins this year. And I don't even think that's a hot take at all.
No, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of quarterbacks they've been with receivers who've been with quarterbacks, you're saying Justin Jefferson is going to take like a big hit losing Kirk Cousins, but Garrett Wilson isn't going to get a big boost going from the Sam Darnolds and Mike Whites of the world to Aaron Rodgers.
Are you ready for this, Zach?
Definitely.
I have it for you.
No. That's 100% true that Garrett Wilson will go from what did he have last year? Just to be clear.
Are you ready?
1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. He'll definitely go to 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns for Garrett.
That's not even the part I want to talk about. He had 168 targets last year.
Who did?
Garrett Wilson. Coming from a scrub.
How many?
He had 147 targets his first year. Coming from scrubs. If he just gets 150 targets from Aaron Rodgers.
And the completion percentage goes up.
Like,
based
how
on
many
the,
of those
1,100 yards.
I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, out of those 168 balls that were thrown at him, 15 to 20% of them were non-catchable.
Okay, we could.
So if you just make that and cut it in half.
How do you constitute as a target? What are we saying? Like they're throwing the ball.
I'm just talking about just throwing the ball at him.
Whatever the NFL does, whatever the NFL does in their stat keeping.
The ball was thrown at him.
So let's break it down. I'm looking at it too. 95 receptions to 168 targets as a rookie, 1,000 yards, 1,042, 3 touchdowns. The next season, and that was with Flacco. The next season is 83 receptions.
You have them backwards.
Oh, sorry. So
sorry.
So 2022 was 83 receptions on 147 targets, 1,100 yards and 4 touchdowns with Joe Flacco. Last year's quarterback play went down. So did his stats. 1,042. So he had 100 yards less, 3 touchdowns. So 1 less touchdown, but he had 12 more catches on 22 more targets.
Yes.
95 catches on the year. So I do think he'll go to like 115 catches, 110, which is elite. But his yards will be like probably 1,300, I think is good number for him. Somewhere there, 1,200, 1,300.
Amazing.
But the receiving touchdowns.
You think he's only going to stay at 3 or 4?
Maybe 7.
So another part of my debate is you don't think that he's going to turn him into a Devontae Adams-esque player?
I think Devontae Adams is like a one-of-one guy.
All right. I'm going to step in here. I
Big,
think it's beyond just
beyond
just a catch versus a no catch. I think there's also opportunities where an Aaron Rodgers, and again, not to harp on Netflix receiver series, but Devontae Adams talks about where he catches the ball versus behind him, in front of him, here, allows for the run after the catch. Aaron Rodgers' precision is among the best in the league in terms of creating run after catch opportunities for his receivers. Even before he's had electric receivers like Devontae Adams, he's turned good receivers into exceptionally statistic receivers, guys like a Greg Jennings, guys like a Jordy Nelson, by hitting them in stride where they don't have to take any hesitation. I know this is a lot of I think, which is I criticized before.
Coming off an Achilles.
But basing what I know about football and what I've seen from Aaron Rodgers, I know he's getting older, but if he can get protection, I don't hate that pick. I'm not saying it's the best pick in the world, but I don't think it's like worthy of criticism. Like, I think that he could have just as good of a season as AJ Brown potentially. I think that the Jets, it is dependent on the Jets taking a step forward, but if I break down that division, I think that the Dolphins stayed the same, the Bills took a step back, and the Patriots took a huge step back.
Yeah, I think I agree with your sentiment. I definitely think the Garrett Wilson stats increasing because of Rodgers being healthy is imminent. for sure. Like that's not something that's a foreign thought. That just seems logical. So I agree with you. It's just about Rodgers staying healthy and all of it working.
All right, and just to expand on Javi's draft overall, it's weird. It's like one of those things where like you count to 100, but you're like 1, 27, 9, 14, 8, like, and you use every single number, but you get to 100, like you're autistic.
Yeah,
like he has like good picks in there weirdly and terrible, like he picked out of order, like that's how I look at it. And I'll also add that if he didn't have a keeper of fucking Kyron Williams in the 14th round, this draft is horrific.
I don't see an RB2 on the roster if Kyron was.
The RB2 is Ty Chandler if he doesn't keep Kyron. Yeah, so that obviously. And I'm not going to give him the credit that he recognized that and did that on purpose. I think that's a happy accident. So breaking it down,
I think that like his running back is still very poor.
But I like Kyler Murray in the 5th. I like Ty Chandler in the 9th. Weirdly, I like Malachi Corley in the last round as a Jets breakout receiver kind of guy. Like he has weirdly good picks, and then just even Curtis Samuel. Like again, it's one of those. It's an unorthodox draft, if you will.
Absolutely.
But it could work. It could just. It's a win the league or be last place kind of draft, and I kind of like that.
Interesting. I like it. All right. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go to Joey's team. Joey Dips.
Joey never been good at drafting fantasy football. Joey
always ends up like being like relevant every year. I think I was looking on like ESPN, and I think I lose to Joey every year. Every week.
He's a bad matchup for you.
Yeah,
statistics. It's just random,
and he'll score like 85 points and win.
Yeah, he does do that. I'll give you that. He's a low point scorer, but a high game winner.
That's always fact. Yes.
He must like be nice to like homeless people or something.
Yeah, good guy.
Got a strat.
Let's see here. Josh Allen in the 4th. He almost considered not keeping him. I can't even believe you would double think that. Like Josh Allen, like I don't know. I feel like that's a lock. You have to keep that. Algier in the 9th is interesting. In case something happens to Bijan, or he'll probably still be in the fold.
I think that's super early, but a couple.
It's a little. You think it's the reach?
A little early.
I think Brock in the 8th is great value. I think Brock.
Edward Hilaire is just like horrible. Like he's not even in the fold at all. He's not even the backup running back right now on that team with P. Ryan there. It's just like such a bad pick. Let me think. Who else here? Kirk is good. I mean, you got to figure with the rookie wide receiver that Kirk is going to have to be relied upon a lot. Gets hurt though. I have him in Dynasty. Nakua is amazing. I don't know. This team, Henry could have 20 rushing touchdowns, right? Are we on that?
He could
in that offense. Like Henry is
going to get the opportunity.
They're going to be in the red zone a lot. Like
they're going to score 30 points a game, so that's going to give him like 5 or 6 shots a game.
It's got it.
Yeah, no, I really like Derrick Henry this year. I have no problem with that pick at all. I think that's actually probably his best pick. I was heavy on Derrick Henry. If I picked late in the first round, I'd be hoping for Derrick Henry. I think that, I bash an old running back 1 minute, I praise another one the next, but it is about situation also. And on a Ravens team that's going to score a lot of points, and a guy who I could put it to like fighting. In fighting, like power is the last thing to go for a fighter. Like you could always land a knockout. And Derrick Henry is a knockout artist of a running back. He doesn't rely on speed. He doesn't rely on cuts or agility. He's just big, strong, power. And he's going to carry motherfuckers. And he has great vision. He's going to find the hole. So he's going to find the hole and run hard. That works. That plays for a long time. That's like a Frank Gore method. Like, you know, like you could have good success late into your career by just picking the right holes and running hard and being strong. And I think Derrick Henry fits that.
Frank Gore is a perfect comparison too. Like the change of scenery, I feel like always gives you a jolt in your career as well from a new perspective, playing with new players, something to prove. It's not the same place that he's played his whole career now in Tennessee.
Especially when it's an upgrade talent-wise.
Upgrade, yeah. So now he's going to feel jonesing to win the Super Bowl. Like he's going to have a different mentality, I feel like, Henry, this year, just even being on a winning teams with Lamar. So,
but just bad picks of Joey. I think James Conner in the 3rd round is crazy. I don't like Godwin in the 6th. Antonio Gibson in the 11th is a throwaway to me. I bet he won't even be on his roster by week 6. I think that overall even Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 13th. I think this is just wasting picks. If you're going to take guys later in fantasy drafts, take younger upside guys. You might still wind up cutting them week 6, but with these older guys, it's just like you've seen, you know what they are. Why are you still hoping that they're going to change their careers to when they were better and younger? I don't know.
Facts.
Better off putting away like a Drake May or Bo Nix, even hoping that they hit.
Yeah. I gotta step out real quick. I'll be right back.
You're good. We're gonna move on to Nick's team here. Whoop-de woo. Mers
I gotta
by
go grab for
nature.
5 minutes. I might just stay on for it.
Yeah, stay on for it, bro. What? Of course. So I'll get into it first. Saquon Barkley pick is good. That was chalk. We knew Nick was going to do that. He was talking about all offseason. Ayuk, yeah, he hasn't reported all camp. It's going to be one of those maybe like he has a crazy season or he gets hurt because he didn't report to camp all summer.
I think he'll be fine.
He'll probably be fine though, and they're going to be a humming team for sure. They're going to be jonesing for that Super Bowl. It's like their last run, it feels like, for the San Francisco 49ers with all the elder statesmen trending retirement soon. Trent Williams and Kittle, all these guys in the back end of their careers.
This team's cool.
His team's cool. Devontae Smith is good. CJ Stroud, Evan Ingram led the league in catches. Broke the record for tight ends, I believe, or whatever the fuck. Tajay Spears could be the bell cow before the end of the season. Jalen Warren's the better running back on that team. Nico Collins, great keeper. Romeo Doubs caught 8 touchdowns last year. Niners defense is a reach. He didn't even have to do that. It just felt like he was trying to fill out his roster as Nick likes to.
I like Wicks too. I think Wicks is sneaky also.
Wicks is sneaky. Receiving core there is, they're going to be throwing the rock there. Tank is a nice little, he took that from Jermaine right there, right before Jermaine. That was fucked up. A nice little handcuff.
His first 5 is cool. I like his first 5.
Whoopty will definitely be in contention this year for sure. Absolutely. Nick's team is definitely a competitive team, especially with CJ Stroud looking primed to throw 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns for sure. So, and he has the connection with Nico Collins and CJ Stroud. We got to talk about that too.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
nice.
Okay, there we go. Now I have it up on my screen.
That's fire. So nice team. I think the picks that I hate on this team a little bit. I think that Brandon Ayuk pick, I'm not in love with that. I feel like there's Puka Nacua to me is a better player. Travis Kelce is a better player, like at their position and just kind of value there. Even you guys are talking about Debo being 12 touchdowns a year. I think I like him over Ayuk as the receiver there and just the fantasy player. But yeah, I was
extremely close to taking Devontae Smith there, but I was looking at like all of the running backs, and I just didn't sit well with me having Devon Achane and Aaron Jones as my only running backs.
Yeah,
I felt like I had to secure Ramondre there.
Could pay off. I mean, the guy should be good for 1,007+ touchdowns, just based on opportunity. If they can move,
Devontae could have a better year than AJ Brown potentially.
Yeah, Devontae's a beast, man. At the end of the day, Devontae Smith is Heisman Trophy winner, like went to the Super Bowl now, has shown that he could be a 1 probably on another team at some point. He's a beast. Yeah, he is a beast for sure. They have 2 1s on that team. So it's a cool team.
Starter.
Tajay Spears is sharing time. I believe he's the goal line back and Pollard's the scat back. As far as
I don't like that pick that he took him that early then.
Feels a little early there.
Yeah, for Tajay, yeah, because I'm looking at the depth chart now. He's
Who would you take there instead, though? If you're, he needed a running back there for sure. He only had Saquon at that point.
I agree. I think you have to kind of take somebody there. I think Tajay could end up like getting most of the love out there, especially if and I mean it's all based on injury and stuff. But I think genuinely, I think Tajay could be better than Pollard, even if they're both healthy.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of running backs but that's our league. Everybody reaches for the running backs. That's where I feel like he shouldn't just. In my opinion, I just shouldn't fall.
Man, fuck Nick. Nick sucks. I'm just kidding, but Nick's a great guy. But his fantasy, I feel like he's like the luckiest fantasy player I've ever seen in my life. I feel like he just falls into success and then acts like he's a genius. I don't even know if the kid watches football, to be honest, with some of his takes. But yeah, the Tajay Spears is crazy to me also. I'd have to agree with that one being a standout. People say like, oh, he needs a running back. Well, you put yourself in that situation. So
yeah, that's
justify the bad pick
deal with
of like, oh, he needed to take one there. Like, well, that was his fault that he needed to
You
take.
know what I mean?
Yeah, and he could have taken like a Kyle Pitts or even like
That's
a
what I'm
Brooks.
saying.
A Brooks. You could take there and then take
Honest
Warren on the
scores
way
from
back,
both.
and Warren is just as viable to start at your RB2 as
That's right.
Spears is. That's kind of like, yeah, so that's a good take, man, that Spears maybe was the reach there.
You
For
know,
sure.
I
that.
get it. I understand the position you're in, but like if you're gonna
Yeah.
go with the light on the RB, you gotta just ride it then. Just
I
keep
just
going
wanna-
with it. You know?
I want
And
to
take-
shout out Eddie Saint in the chat saying we're going OD harsh on Whoopty. So
Oh, we were just giving him praise. We were just saying we like his team, actually.
I said
do.
Dick, fuck you. So that was probably on me.
Yeah, that was he must have came in late because we were saying that he could be a playoff team for sure. His first 5 picks are legit: Barkley, Ayuk, Devontae Smith, C.J. Stroud, Ingram, and then he has.
I'm just
Wow,
a hater.
Nico.
He's been in
and
the
he has
finals.
Nico with the stack. So
He's been in the finals twice in 3 years. I'm just a hater. Fair enough. Eddie put me in my place, and Eddie said he wants in one of these weeks. We'll get him in. We'll get him in as a guest for sure.
Absolutely, for sure. All right, let's move to Jermaine's team. This is our second to last team.
Let's go.
All right, so Maine, you have to abstain. Casey, why don't you kick this one off since I just kicked off the last one?
Picks I hate. I don't like Drake London. I think like I would rather Cooper Kupp. I would rather Devontae Adams. I would rather Puka Nakua. Yeah, I am not big on Drake London. I know he's getting the upgrade with Kirk, but I don't know. He's just for that pick right there. I don't know. I don't love it. Kincaid, I think, is awesome. I like Jaden Reed. I think that was a good scoop in the 5th. Worthy, I'm not huge on. Like I said, we had this conversation off air. I think he's going to get jammed at the line a lot, and he's just too small, and I don't think he's not Tyreek Hill, you know? So we'll see.
No one is.
My draft just
No,
started.
that's what you're hoping for with a guy like that, you know, like small dude, super quick. Like, I don't know.
Well, I would ask Maine. He's talked off air about like he thinks Kyle Pitts is going to have 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. He thinks Bijan's going to have an awesome year. You know, where does Drake London elevate if those are the guys also elevating? I think
Kirk
that
Cousins
Drake
not
London.
4,000 yards.
I think that Drake London isn't the one who's going to upgrade. And I also think that like we've seen him, you know, in the past, how good he is. I don't know. I think that maybe an upgrade is one thing, but a early second round pick, 16th pick of the draft, I want to say, is too early.
I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with that too. I like Jermaine's team. I like what he did in general, though. I like this lineup.
I like Etienne a lot. I think
love
Etienne's
Etienne,
a
bro. I think that was
sleeper.
the right pick, that spot, for sure. We don't even know. Tyler Lockett could just be the guy that we've always seen him be and just be a consistent 900 yards, 7 touchdowns, just be old reliable. He never takes hits.
Put Bijan at 4.
You know, I like Tyler Lockett. I like Etienne. I like London. I think London will get a boost, to be honest. You took Bijan at 4 in your live draft.
I just did the same thing you did in this 10-man.
In a 10-man. Yeah, that makes me feel good. Jalen Hurts is a nice player. 15 rushing touchdowns last year. He got the boost with Saquon. I'm sure his stats. And they got Dotson, another nice third receiver, probably the best third wide receiver Hurts has had for a minute.
All right, here's the real question, though.
Yeah.
When do we think Nick Chubb is going to play again this year?
Casey said week 10. I think I agree.
I'd say sooner than that. I would say around week 6.
I'm putting
Better
him like
question is how
weeks
good do
8
you
to
think
10.
he's going to be when he gets back?
Jerome Ford, RB1. Let's fucking go.
I do like Jerome Ford. And back to chat, Eddie shouted out exactly what I said, where I said, fuck him, and then I said I don't even think he watches football.
That's not bullying. That's so light. Come
I do
on.
want to clarify that, like, just like I do the diss tracks and stuff, I'm joking around, you know, like I'm just kidding. I'm sure he watches plenty of football, but I do agree that that's like a really mean thing to say about another man. That I don't even think he watches football. That is pretty mean. That's like
He goes,
number
"I'm
one
going
man
to
thing.
Rodgers is heavy hater. You guys got to know. He's just a
Man,
hater.
catching strays out
He's a
here.
Philadelphia Eagle fan, and he's good at fantasy football. He's the easiest guy to hate. You have got
He's
to
not
understand.
good.
We love
Yeah.
Whoopi,
He's
of
been
course.
in the finals twice, and last year he got like most points like the first 7 weeks of the season, so he can get a little hate. He'll be all right.
Much respect to Nick. Much respect. All right, and let's finish it up. Let's round it up here with this fat busy Eddie Lazada.
I think it's this fat bitch, like just spelled like bitch.
Beige.
I like this team. This team is very cool, to be honest. Has a ton of upside. I think Kenneth Walker and Gibbs is a nice 1-2. Rashee Rice, Marvin Harrison is a nice 1-2. Joe Burrow as the quarterback. Some nice little extra pieces around with Pollard. McBride has some upside. He's talented. Deontay has some upside.
McBride is a top 5 tight end at worst, you know?
Yeah. I like this team, to be honest. This is one of the better teams I've read. Young Ho Koo is one of the better kickers. I love shouting out kickers. Herbert in one of the later rounds there is nuts. In case something happens to Burrow. It's funny he got 2 guys that love to get hurt, but
I think wide receiver is a little bit of thin. Like you need some upside there from Deontay Johnson, from Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously has to play like a top 5 to 7 wide receiver as a rookie. You know, like you're asking a lot. And then obviously Rashee Rice, who I'm high on. I wanted him in the 5th round. He was early 3rd round, first pick of the 3rd round. So no, last pick of the 3rd round. Excuse me. My apologies. Sleeper does a thing where it goes back and forth, so it throws me off. But
a little early for Rashee, in my opinion, also, but still sick.
Yeah, it's a cool pick. Pollard looks early too. I just like it's the same type of thing with Spears. It's a split situation. I don't know who you take that's better than him.
I like TJ Hawkinson late when he's going to start the season on the up.
Security blanket. Khalil Herbert could end up being a nice starting running back for him if Swift gets hurt, which could happen very easily. I think he's been hurt before. And obviously running backs just in general with a rookie quarterback, like you're going to expect them to run the ball. Like Khalil Herbert can run that rock. So
I mean, you still got Walker. They're going to
sling it.
Yeah, it's a cool team. Michael Wilson's not a nothing. He'll play for sure and be a wide receiver 3 on Arizona. This is a cool team. I think Eddie did a good job here in this pick for last pick. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. Not really any guys I hate. And there's definitely a few guys I love. So, and Wright can end up seeing the field. A lot of those running backs on Miami love to get hurt. Wright is a talented guy on Miami in that offense. Who knows? Maybe he ends up seeing the field. Wouldn't be the first time 2 running backs got hurt on a team.
True.
So,
all right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly,
thanks for coming on, boys.
So glad it was.
Hell yeah!
So great to have you guys join the show. It was so much fun.
Hell yeah! 26. We out here.
This 10-man draft with Bijan Robinson and ETN.
Hell yeah! I love that.
There you go. Good 1-2 punch. But keep it locked. We'll be back next week for another episode. Maybe we'll have another special guest. It's about to be a long ass fantasy season for you bitches.
Yeah, and
buckle up.
And like Maine jumped on today. Even if you want to just come on, just let Zach know. He'll send you the link. It'll be fun.
Ain't shit. Thanks again to Rob the commish. All right, yo, we out of here.
Hi, boys.
You good?
Alabama -34, lock of the century.
Lock.
All right, peace.